If you have health insurance, you might be able to see a personal dietitian for $0 out of pocket. Nourish connects you with a dietitian that fits your needs, covered by your insurance. Nourish accepts hundreds of insurance plans, and 94% of patients pay $0 out of pocket. Meet with your dietitian online and message them anytime through the Nourish app. With hundreds of 5-star reviews from real patients, you know you're in good hands. Find your dietitian at usenourish.com. That's usenourish.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Whether you love true crime or comedy, celebrity interviews or news, you call the shots on what's in your podcast queue. And guess what? Now you can call them on your auto insurance too with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. It works just the way it sounds. You tell Progressive how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you coverage options that fit your budget. Get your quote today at Progressive.com to join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Ready to explore Europe the striped way? Fly Condor Airlines nonstop to Frankfurt and connect effortlessly to most European destinations. Relax and start your vacation in comfort. Fly the striped way. Visit condor.com today and book your next adventure.
Hey, anyone know what channel the game's on? We know. Download the Sports on What app today and always know how to watch the game. Satellite, cable, or streaming. Sports on What knows the channel the game is on, and you can too. Subscribe today to start your 7-day free trial. Sports on What? We know.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, let's play a game of reality versus relativity. So generally speaking, a couple of days. Doesn't sound like a very long time. After all, it's only a couple of days. However, if you're in Kitsap County and lost power Monday night because of the windstorm, just know that the Pacific Sound Energy, they're estimating that you will have power restored by 9 p.m. tomorrow night. So yeah, the reality is that you won't have power for a couple of days. Relatively speaking, you've been without power for forever. But look, if you lost power for 7 hours, not so bad, because 7 hours just isn't that long. Unless you're waiting in line to check into a hotel. That was the case earlier this week in Las Vegas at the Resorts World Complex, where people waited 7 hours just to check into the room that they'd already booked and paid for. No one expects to stand in line for that long. Now, obviously, there are times where you know you're committed for the long haul. For example, if you were to fly from, say, Melbourne, Australia to Doha, Qatar, it's a 14-hour flight. Nothing you can do about it, but you mentally prepare yourself for it. But the flight will feel a lot longer than that if you have to sit next to a very rotund and very dead woman for the duration of the flight. We brought you that story yesterday. Basically, a woman died on the flight, and some bored dude had to sit next to her for the entire flight. Not only that, he was the last guy to disembark off the plane, including the dead lady, because they took everyone else off. Then they came back to get her. Then he could get off. 14 hours next to a corpse. And finally, 30 minutes. 30 minutes, not a long time. That's just one half an hour. That can't possibly be a long time. Oh, well, okay. If you're trapped upside down at a ride at an amusement park, then yes, 30 minutes is plenty long. That was the case in Oregon. And we'll get to all these stories a little bit later. But first, we want to hear from you. Today's question brought to you by our friends at Advanced Hair Restoration. Our question, even though it did not take forever, what seemed like it took forever?
To be a part of the big show, call 206-803-ROCK. Like KISW on Facebook, follow us on X and Instagram at Men's Room Live, and send your emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Hello, Pacholas, away we go. Welcome to Season 20, Episode number 4,269.
Yeah.
What a large and in charge program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat. Who Sucks Less is back. Steve, I don't know how you do it. You find people doing messed up stuff in the news. You bring us 3 stories each and every week. It is up to us to figure out which one sucks the least.
Yeah.
4:30 is the time. How are we looking this week on Who Sucks Less? Are we back to the farting game today?
I'm farting. I'm not sure it'll be as bad as yesterday, but we'll find out together, gentlemen.
Right.
This week, not nearly as bad as last week. I mean, not great, but not nearly as bad as last week. It's,
right.
And some of these stories we've covered on this very show in the last week or so, but they deserve a place in the Who Sucks Less Mount Rushmore.
Who Sucks Less is coming up at 4:30. Today we're going to talk about time and things that take forever. Now, obviously, the length of time is just as important or not as important as the situation you're in, depending on what the situation is. So as far as time goes, it might be a half an hour. It might be 4 days. It might be months. It might be years. But either way, it seems one way or another like this is taking forever.
It's relative to your situation. So yesterday I read a story. The story took a total of 3 minutes, which does not sound long. And to put it in perspective, I read that, who was the chick in Titanic? What's her name?
Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet. Okay, so she was doing some movie. I don't remember what it was. Part of her training was the breath holding, like they're doing the SEALs, the Green Berets.
Yeah.
And she got up to like 4.5 minutes, like something ridiculous. Like she can kind of nail it. And they go, wow, that's a really long time because it's holding your breath. Now, the story I read yesterday, only 3 minutes. The situation, however, was that an elderly man in England was being mauled by a pit bull for 3 minutes. Now 3 minutes seems like a really
feels like it's forever.
Really
Absolutely.
long time, right?
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else where 3 minutes seems like forever. That's a commercial break, maybe. But I'm like, if you're being mauled by a pit bull during a commercial break on TV, that is the longest commercial break you've ever seen.
It also could be just relative to what you normally do. I don't know if anybody had the joy that I did. Yesterday, a transformer blew on the Aurora Bridge in the morning.
Yeah.
Now, traffic was absolutely awful. Based on where it took me 20 minutes longer to get in.
But that is forever.
But it just seemed like every time I took a turn, man, I would come across, the power company trying to fix either a tree that had fallen in the road or down power lines. Or they had a whole block, that was just completely blocked off. So I had to go all around that. And then I tried to get on Aurora, and Aurora's a standstill. And it was just one thing after another. Was it the biggest deal in the world? Not really, but it took forever.
Were you annoyed?
I was annoyed as hell. But
exactly.
Residents in Kitsap County, now the storm was on Monday night. Mm-hmm. And as of this morning, at about 6 o'clock, there were still 40,000 people, according to Puget Sound Energy, customers that were without power. And they're saying that it looks like, South Kitsap school districts, they were closed today. Could power be back on by 9? They're hoping so. But they say some customers might get their power back by midnight tonight. Others, it's going to take till 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. Now, it might not seem like the longest amount of time.
It does if you don't have power.
But when your phone's dead, obviously you can go out to your car, you can start it up, and you can plug your phone in, and you can make your calls out there, whatever you want to do. But it's just an inconvenience, and it's a pain in the ass.
Well, you're losing food in the fridge.
If you don't have
all that stuff.
If you don't have a gas stove, you can't really cook. You can't do the microwave thing,
I would also add, if you have children at home, it seems about 8 times as long because as an adult, it just sucks. But you shut your mouth about it because what are you going to do?
Right.
Our power went out, not in this last windstorm, but the previous windstorm, what was that, December, November, whatever it was. We lost power for about 18 hours total. Went out at about 7 o'clock at night. Everyone's in bed by midnight at worst. Get up, go to school. My kids were losing their mind, right? Which ends up making the situation feel worse because they keep asking me and my wife questions that we can't possibly answer, which is, when will the power be back on? But I don't know. I have no answers for you in this situation. Right. I don't know when the power will come back on, but I hope it's sooner than later, not because I care whether or not the power's on, but because you're really annoying. Yeah. Honest to God, I can live without electricity for a little while. It's not convenient, but again, as an adult, you just roll with it. It'll be what it'll be. But if you have kids at home and you know this to be true if you're a parent, power goes out and they can't get on the internet or whatever the situation is, it is a freaking meltdown, man.
I had a situation, man, where my power got out. As soon as I got in the door on Monday night, boom, the whole thing blows. Down on through Leary, Fremont, Wallingford area, Ballard up near Leary. So I get in the house, and I've got this big, police beater flashlight that I've had for decades, one of those big-ass mag lights. And I go to turn it on. Of course, it's dead. I have every battery known to man except for D batteries.
Right.
And then when I tried to unscrew it, basically the batteries inside have...
they corroded to the point that won't come out.
To the point where I can't even unscrew the thing. So I know the inside's a mess, so just threw the damn thing away. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, I got one candle. That's what I got, so...
we are pretty prepared.
Trying to make the best of that.
We have some of those, I guess you're supposed to Velcro them to the bottom of your cabinet kind of stuff. So we have 8 of those, and they're strategically located throughout the house. So once the power goes out, my son does get excited for this. He will be the guy that takes the first light because he knows where the rest are, and basically illuminate the house, a pathway to the bathroom and all this. But actually, one of the last times I was at a blackout, I was at the bar, and we were having a windstorm, and all of us were talking about the idea that the power might go out. Well, then the power went out. Well, so the bartender's like, hey, man, everyone's got to go, which sucks. She's like, well, there's about 4 of us. She's like, no, you guys are cool. Like, okay. She's like, look, I can pour one more beer for everyone, one more shot, because that'll be on the house. Mm-hmm. But as it turns out, we were sitting in the bar with a guy that is a cameraman for one of the local news stations, right? So the power goes out. It's pretty dark. He's like, I will be right back. My man comes in. He has one of those big-ass, like, stage lighting things that they use for their
stand-ups.
Oh, it was great. Dude, whole bar lit back up, and it was drink on.
So after I had power, I went down to see what the deal was and walk around Fremont. Is there any bars that are open? So I go to one regular place, and they've got candles in there, and the regulars are sitting in there, and everybody's just getting their names and drinks written down, obviously to keep track and honor system on this. And I'm just about ready to cash out and say, look, man, I'm done. Boom, power pops right back on. She takes my credit card. I'm like, damn it. I was so close to maybe they were forgetting. Brought you the story yesterday. Australian couple on a trip to Italy, from Australia to Italy. Pretty hard situation after they were forced to sit beside a dead passenger. The flight from Melbourne to
Doha
to Venice. Apparently, a woman collapsed exiting the plane's bathroom and died despite onboard efforts to save her. The cabin crew then decided to place a body covered in blankets next to this guy, Michael Ring, and his wife. They just looked at me and saw the seats were available beside me. My wife was on the other side, and we were in a row of 4. They said, can you move over? I mean, look, man, you still got to get past this person to use the bathroom. Shouldn't you put them?
That was my thought. Put them in the window seat,
my God.
man.
So they placed the lady in the chair I was in.
You got to step over a corpse to go to the bathroom.
And they were able to move to a free seat. She was, but the man was not. And there were seats open. That's the disturbing part about that.
Why didn't they let him? Did they explain why they did not let him just take one of the free seats as opposed to, can you sit next to the corpse of a stranger?
Yeah. So he said, look, man, he was not really able to move, but he was not offered another seat. There were some available. He said they had to stay seated after landing as the body was dealt with because, as you said, Steve, he's the last person off the plane, right? Okay, so here's the problem. He said it was distressing. And then there was a point before they removed her that they had to remove the blankets that were covering her. And he says, I was there, and I just looking at her face. She's looking at me, and it wasn't nice. I can't believe they told us to stay. I thought they would have at least got us out quickly. No word yet if they're going to compensate for any of this.
Come on.
He said the entire experience traumatizing. And it was also a long trip. They're just trying to make the most out of their trip to Italy and Venice. But either way,
they've got to. Man, I've been compensated for less than that.
It was a 14-hour flight. And Mike, real quick, I was on that flight from Johannesburg to Newark, New Jersey. All right, it's nonstop. How cool is that? It's also 16 hours. All right, so I am 7 hours into this flight. I have watched 3 movies. I am now plowing through a book, and I look at the screen in front of me, which shows you where you are.
Don't do it, man.
I'm not even halfway over Africa yet. I'm not even close to getting halfway through this continent. I'm 7 hours in. I've got 9 hours to go. And I mean, at this point in time, I am starting to melt in my seat. This is a long-ass flight.
Is it a comfortable plane?
It is not. It's not.
Just standard?
It's a bigger plane. I think it was like a 777 or whatever. It's as comfortable as it can be. Sure. It wasn't the fact that there was nothing was wrong with the plane. It was the time and how slowly. It's like being put in. I don't know, like when you're a kid and they put you in detention. It just seems like that hour.
It's 30 minutes.
Or whatever that is. It just drags.
How many times did you have to stand up and just take a walk up and down the aisle real fast?
And I wasn't the only one. Okay, so then I get to...
People do that on like 2-hour flights.
Right.
You fly from like here to San Francisco and someone has like do aisle yoga. Like, dude,
right. Come on,
you can't take an hour and 40 minutes. Come on.
So then I fly into Newark Airport. I finally get there. I mean, it's just like when that plane's coming down, I wanted to be that guy, not because we survived anything, just because my brain made it through there. So, of course, as soon as I get there, I've got to go and I've got to get my bag, and then I've got to go through customs. Right. Now, I don't know what you know about Newark, but customs is not the quickest thing in the world, right? Because now I got to get on a international flight to fly back to Seattle. I go through all this stuff. Then I've got to check back
into TSA on a Saturday morning.
Gotcha.
When everything is absolutely jam-packed. I was already in the airport.
I just have this question about that. I understand going through customs. I deal with this every time I come back from Mexico. Sure. And I would say to my wife, look, because she's always like, be cool. And I said, we both know my tipping point. My tipping point is we got off of this plane and you saw us.
Right.
Our bags are sitting here. You have gone through them. And now I have to go back.
Right.
Now, dude,
yes.
it is impossible that anyone has pulled anything off in this moment.
You got to remember, man, my flight is an hour and a half away. Okay, so even though I landed, should seem like plenty of time.
But you got to go through TSA.
I got to go through customs.
Again.
Customs first. Then
right.
I got to check back. Then I got to get on I'm in a different terminal.
Right, get on the tram or whatever.
I need to go to the from international to the regular terminal. Then I got to check in there. I'm just looking at my watch like, oh my God, I'm not going to make this flight to Seattle. So I rush my ass through. I am basically running through the Newark airport, trying to get to my gate. I get to my gate, and guess what happens? They canceled the entire flight.
What?
All right, it's 7 o'clock. I'm supposed to be, in theory, at home by 1 o'clock.
Afternoon.
I've already been on a plane for 16 hours. Yeah. They canceled the flight. The next available flight for me is going to be in 2.5 hours. I will be able to fly to
Chicago,
San Francisco, California.
Oh, crime.
But there's no flights from San Francisco that will connect to Seattle.
What?
No. Oh, not at this time. Not unless I want to wait 4 more hours in the San Francisco airport. But you know where I can't fly? Portland, Oregon. And then I can get on another plane to Seattle after another hour and a half delay. That was my return trip home. And by the time I got in the Uber, he was like, how was your trip? And I'm just like, oh, God.
Awful.
Can I cry and not get points taken against my rating? I just want to cry. You know, I mean, and then the baggage, of course, when I got to Seattle. We all know that experience. You have landed after all of this voyage, and now the luggage is not coming out. And it just...
SeaTac is the worst. It has got to be the worst airport.
I know certain airlines have a 30-minute guarantee. I did not have this guarantee. I don't know if it's all airlines. Trust me, it was longer than that. And I am melting. I am absolutely... Not only that, but I smoked my last cigarette outside of the Newark airport. Oh. When I walk outside to SeaTac, I'm just like, anybody, please. And you know what? Seattle, for the most part, is not a big smoking city. Good for Seattle. But I need a cigarette.
Yeah.
I go to the smoking area, which is normally jam-packed with people. No one. Nobody.
Well, wait. Did you go to the actual smoking area?
Yes.
That's where you went wrong.
I know that, but I already walked
out the baggage claim door where it says no smoking.
Yeah.
And there are 40 people out there smoking, including people that work at SeaTac Airport. So I go out there and absolutely smoke. It doesn't matter. That's where the smokers are.
When I read this story about this 14-hour flight from Melbourne to Venice, all right, I thought, okay, first of all, it's nonstop. It's 14 hours. That's 2 hours shorter than my first flight. Mm-hmm. You have to remember, I also had a layover in Newark for 2 hours and a half to get to San Francisco. Then another hour and a half to get to Portland. Then another hour and 45 minutes. I mean, boom, boom, boom. I mean, I'm just like, oh, my God. And I thought to myself when I read that story, you know what? I would have rather sat by a dead lady who stinks for 14 hours than do that trip again, which seemingly just took forever.
I agree. If you said, look, you got to sit next to this corpse for 14 hours, but when you land,
that's it.
You're at your destination. Or you can follow what Miles did. No dead people. 100% of the time, I'm taking the corpse. I really am.
Here's my bet. 3 books. That'll be plenty. How the hell am I going to read 3 books? I read all 3 books before I even got to San Francisco. You know, I read everything that I had. And at that point in time, I'm sick and tired of reading.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you do get that point.
My eyes are like, yeah.
And then you get over movies real quick.
Oh, yeah.
You do. You start out real, you know.
Every Deadpool movie I watch.
You bet. You feel real good about it. Like, oh, man, I can watch all these movies. I got all this time. And by the second one, you're like, I don't want to watch anything anymore.
Welcome to Wrexham or whatever. I watched everything Brian Reynolds has ever done.
Maybe I'll watch TV. Exactly. No, bored of it. Don't want it.
So our question, even though it didn't take forever, what seemed like it took forever? 206-803-ROCK.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. You know what's sneaky? A bunch of big corporations buying up local companies you know and love, gutting them, and keeping the name. But you know who's not a sellout? Pinky's Plumbing. That's right. Pinky's Plumbing's values start with their work ethic, honesty, how they treat their employees, and how they care for their customers. Bigger isn't always better, and that's a fact. You should know you're working with a locally owned company that truly values where they live and work. Pinky's Plumbing, pinkysplumbing.com.
Plug in a Hyundai EV and the extraordinary happens. From the charge time and range in the Ioniq 5 and 6 to the adventurous spirit of the Kona Electric to the 601 horsepower Ioniq 5N. Hyundai EVs make the extraordinary electrifying. There's joy in every journey.
EPA estimated 303-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 5 SE SEL limited rear-wheel drive and 361-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 6 SE long-range rear-wheel drive with fully charged battery. Actual range may vary. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
Hiring is a lonely business. Posting jobs, sifting through resumes, interviews with unqualified applicants, being ghosted. What if you could link with dozens of qualified candidates who are ready to work right now? With just one connection. That's Express Employment Professionals. Find us at expresspros.com. One connection, the workforce you need. Problem solved. Express Employment Professionals. expresspros.com.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Where'd you get those shoes? Easy. They're from DSW. Because DSW has the exact right shoes for whatever you're into right now. You know, like the sneakers that make office hours feel like happy hour. The boots that turn grocery aisles into runways. And all the styles that show off the many sides of you, from daydreamer to multitasker and everything in between. Because you do it all in really great shoes. Find a shoe for every you at your DSW store or DSW.com.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Text the guys at 206-803-ROCK from the Pinky's Plumbing Studio. You're in the men's room.
Our question, even though it didn't take maybe forever, what seemed like it took forever? 206-803-ROCK. A couple of quick texts here. It says, what took forever? For me, it was going on tour of duty in Iraq. I deployed with the 1st Cavalry Division back in 2006 for what was supposed to be a 12-month deployment. Well, we got extended and spent a total of 16 months in Iraq. That was the longest 16 months of my life.
I bet it was.
I can believe that. And someone here says, I think a lot of Seattleites will agree with this. It seemed to take forever for the Seahawks to win a Super Bowl. It seems to have taken forever and still going to get the NBA back in Seattle. I would say be very confident that Seattle gets an NBA team because you always follow the money, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the NBA commissioner said, look, we got to figure out the media rights deal and all that kind of thing for televising the games. And when we get that done, we'll start worrying about expansion. Well, they got the deal done. And most of that deal was done with Amazon, who owns Climate Pledge Arena in the city of Seattle. If you don't think Amazon has something to do with putting that team back in Seattle, you're out of your mind. So I would say, hey, go buy your jerseys now. I have no doubt.
We know the Mariners have never been to the World Series. But the franchise itself.
Do you think they ever will?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But
what do you think?
Every year I hope. Obviously.
Of course you hope. I hope the Orioles go back. They're not going to.
But as far as baseball and baseball history is concerned, VD back there, 99.9% of the time, he's wearing a Chicago Cubs hat. He is a fan. He is from Chicago. They have the longest drought ever.
But it was a drought.
It was a drought. It was
not. They never.
They had won. They had won.
Correct. It's like Jets fans
in 1908.
But it's still part of your record. So like Jets fans.
It's the longest title drought ever. So title drought.
Yeah.
Not never won.
Not never won.
Title drought. 108 years and 19 days it took for the Cubs to once again win another World Series. And Ted was going over yesterday the most expensive tickets in sports. That Cubs game, whenever they're in the playoffs, shows up. Just
Absolutely.
because it was that important. I don't know if it was a World Series game. I can't remember.
Well, again,
either way.
The Cubs,
Jesus,
the Mets win a while. Like I said, if you're a New York Jets fan, your team's awful, and they're going until you get new ownership. They're going to be bad as long as that guy owns a team, right? But that said, at least they can say, okay, it happened before I was born, but at least there's a Super Bowl victory in our team's history.
Anybody who's ever played high school football will tell you for a fact that 2-a-days in August that is the longest month of your life. It absolutely sucks. Our question, even though it didn't take forever, what seemed like it took forever? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Cheyenne. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, gentlemen.
Hola.
So the things that seemed like they took forever were actually 2 trips to Seattle. One, even though it was totally worth it, was when I came to see you guys recently to come to live night. The journey home was about an 11-hour wait at the airport. Nothing as bad as Miles' deal, but still.
Now, was it an 11-hour wait scheduled that way, or did something go wrong? Because we did this in, December? So you got weather, the fact that you're going to, like, Podunk, Wyoming, South Dakota. Like, there's no...
I tell you what, Cheyenne, I would rather be in an airport. When I did get to those airports and had those layovers, I walked around the airport because I've been sitting for so long in a seat. I just wanted to get my legs to feel like they had blood moving through them. So to be stuck in a plane for 11 hours or to be stuck in an airport for 11 hours, I'll take the airport. There's more to do. You can walk around. You can go get some food. You can go to the bathroom.
Right. Like I said, yours was worse. But as far to answer Thrill's question, it wasn't scheduled that way. I had taken an earlier flight, and then that earlier flight got delayed so that I missed all my connections. And then the second trip to Seattle that was a few years earlier, I had a 22-hour drive from here to Bellevue to go do a gig, and I ended up getting into a random bidding war with a B-list celebrity at the end of it, too. So
wait, who was the B-list celebrity?
So, have you guys seen that movie Wind Talkers with Nicolas Cage?
No. I remember the name of it, but I never saw it.
Okay. Or there was a native guy in Joe Dirt that sold fireworks, too.
Yeah.
But
that guy?
Yeah, so it was him, yes.
Well, he's got more money than you. And he was in Joe Dirt.
Yeah, yes, he does. I can't
Which,
argue
honest
that.
to God, stands up as a pretty decent.
It is a funny movie.
It actually has its moments in a Forrest Gump kind of way, because that was the model of the way that they wrote the script.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree.
So what was it? What were you bidding on?
Well, at the time I was 18 and stupid, and there were about 12 women on the trip with us, and so me and him were bidding for a beaded purse to give to people we were interested in, and he won. So
you got in a bidding war with a fireworks guy from Joe Dirt to buy a beaded purse to give to a chick that you thought was hot.
Yes.
Okay.
Not my proudest moment, but yeah.
Look, we've all been there, man. We've all been there. Don't even worry about it. It's just, I don't know that a beaded purse would have been my thing, but yeah.
How good looking was this woman?
Model hot, let's just say that.
Okay.
Did you ever get a chance to hook up with her?
No, I didn't.
You think the beaded purse would have sealed the deal for you?
No, although it added insult to injury because they harassed me the whole trip back about who I was going to give it to.
All right.
Okay. Should have said the hot one.
Even though it didn't take forever, what seemed like it took forever. 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Marcus. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, guys. Hola. So, here about 5 years ago, so half my life ago, I had stolen an RV.
How long ago did you say you cut out?
Sorry, what?
How long ago was this? You kind of cut out when you said how long ago was it?
25 years ago.
25 years, okay. Just trying to make sure you're kind of in the clear.
Yeah. No, this is all in the past. Okay, anyway, 25 years ago, I stole an RV. I had beer in the cooler or in the refrigerator. I was not sober at the time I was driving. But my beer had emptied, so I threw it out the window. Went back to the refrigerator to grab another one. The road curved. I didn't have autopilot, so it did not.
So you're driving the RV down the road that you stole. You run out of beer.
Sir.
You throw the can out the window. First of all, you stole the RV. Now you're littering. Now you walk back to the refrigerator while the RV is moving to grab another beer and then to walk back up and grab the wheel again. Am I understanding this correct?
You are understanding this Correct. I was not a smart man.
Okay. I mean, okay. Well, wait a minute.
I like the style.
There's not smart, and then there is I'm in a moving vehicle, but I'm physically going to walk and go get a beer while it's still driving.
Now, when you got back to the seats, was the RV still in the lane?
I never made it back to the seat.
So you said the road curved, and I'm guessing this thing flipped over, crashed?
Oh, yeah, 2.5 times.
All right.
Probably took about seconds, but it felt like it took an hour and a half with my head bouncing all over the place and my body.
So what is your next move now? Because now there's a wrecked RV that you're drinking in and that you've stolen. Do you have to wait or do you climb out of that thing and disappear?
I climbed out of the thing, broke into a church, and then taped my nose back up because it was ripped in half. It still is.
All right. And did you manage to get out of there for the most part without being caught?
I never got caught. But later in my life, I had to own up to it.
Why did you have to own up to it?
Because I became a law-abiding citizen of the state of Washington, Mason County.
But wait, so did they know? Did they know that you had some connection? So why would you fess up if you're busted for something, right? So I don't know. I get busted for drugs. I wouldn't say, hey, also, I stole an RV that I crashed a couple of years ago and then broke into a church to tape my nose. I mean, I would just keep that to myself.
Because some kid at the church saw me in there.
All right.
He came into the bathroom while I was fixing myself up, and I always felt guilty about it.
Well, so how does anybody know? How did this come back around?
It comes back around because that's the way the world works, because it's a small community of Mason County.
All right, so you've been telling people about it?
No. Hell no. Not until recently.
Well, how did they... What was it just guilt that made you fess up to all of this?
Yeah. I got clean. Not necessarily sober, but I got clean off everything else.
Okay.
Then it's time to...
So it's part of the process.
Right your wrongs.
Okay. All right, I got you. I can respect that. But again, you stole an RV. I just want to make sure I have all of this right. You stole the RV.
This is great.
And while you're driving your RV, you're drinking a beer. You run out of the beer. You throw the beer can out the window. But you want another beer, so instead of pulling over something, you just keep letting it drive. Walk to the refrigerator. The road curves, as roads are wont to do. The RV then flips over 2.5 times. You get the hell out of there, break into a church, tape your nose up, and go on about your business.
Do you look like Cousin Eddie?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
All right. Okay.
Wow, that's...
that sounds like right out of Vacation.
Yeah, it does.
He's just drinking a beer, driving the RV, throws it out, maybe takes the dog and puts it in the driver's seat, walks back, gets a beer, cracks it, takes his time, takes a sip.
I just assumed that someone else was driving when he said I ran out of beer, so I grabbed another one. Then he said the road curved, and I'm like, oh, my God, this dude was at the wheel.
Just put the cruise control on.
Good Lord, man. I like that he admits it.
Yeah.
I'd probably keep that one a little closer to the vest. Not because I committed crime, but because everything about that was stupid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Everything.
Yeah. Officials are investigating what caused a crack in a Colorado ski lift that forced the evacuation of over 170 stranded skiers and snowboarders. The gondola lift at Winter Park Resort, which is near Denver, just stopped when it detected the crack in a structural piece of the lift about noon on Saturday. Spokespeople said that the people riding in the gondolas were lowered down by ropes over the course of 5 hours. No injuries were reported during the rescues, which came at the start of the busy holiday season. They entered the cabin of each gondola from above and lowered people one at a time, all their equipment to the ground before using a rope equipped with a seat.
How high up was this?
174 people in multiple gondolas were stuck, again, 5 hours. At least they were in a gondola and not sitting on a chair on a ski lift. But still, when you're sitting in that thing, dangling, hanging,
you're not any more comfortable.
In bad weather, and it takes 5 hours, then you get lowered down after all that.
I'd almost be more comfortable in the seat because I weigh less than a gondola. Because I don't know what the problem is. But echoing that, can't believe I have anything similar to that guy that just called. But as far as a vehicle flipping over, that much I can relate to. We did that thing up at Monroe Motor Speedway, whatever.
Evergreen Motor Speedway.
Evergreen, right. So Ted clips me, whatever. No big deal. The car flips. But from the inside, So the story I hear from the people that witnessed it, it was you smacked into the wall, the car flipped over 7.5 times. Quite proud of that, by the way. And like it was just done. What I remember is, I'm going to hit this wall. That actually happened very quickly. Time did not slow down for that. Like I remember hitting the wall, but when the car went up in the air, I thought it only flipped over 1.5 time, like just to land on the roof. I didn't realize I was like flipping.
Yeah.
You're just looking out the window, and I so clearly remember all the thoughts that went through my head, how crazy I thought the situation was. Part of me just saying, I can't believe this, but you have time to think all of this, in spite of the fact this happens lightning quick. But your perspective, and anyone that's been in a crash that remembers it, you know this. Like, it slows down. You have all these thoughts. And then I remember the car landing upside down, and me thinking, oh, my God, this is going to hurt so bad. Because I'm just picturing, like, my head smashing into the roof. It didn't. Those safety harnesses in those race cars, they are for real. Absolutely wear them. And then I remember watching the windshield explode in toward me. But when I saw the windshield explode, it was kind of like the Matrix slow motion. Like, I felt like you could see every individual shard kind of blow by. And then it got real quiet. The car stopped moving. And upside down, I'm just like, yes! My hand, 'cause, like, yes. I'm not hurt. I am not dead. Because seriously, I'm like, am I going to die? How bad is this going to... Am I actually upside down?
Of course, I run over there, and I'm like, Jesus, Dad, what are you doing? He's like, Rubbin's racing. And I'm like,
he maintains that.
That's the movies.
Right.
I mean, I know they do it in NASCAR, but they're professional.
They are professional drivers.
Professional drivers.
Oh, yeah.
He's a whiz.
And
he's like, no, Rubbin's racing. I'm like, dude, they threw the yellow flag out on you immediately.
Right. But also your perspective changes,
and a red
right?
flag.
So
like, get him out of here.
I'm hanging upside down, and, when you're upset, there's just nothing you can do. You're just stamped in the seat. And I hear some guys just kind of yelling, and then I hear all these footsteps and realize, it's the fire department, right? They're EMTs on site kind of thing. And they immediately, they dive down, they're on their belly, and they're all, looking through the windows. Are you okay? I'm like, bro, I can't explain it. I'm fine. I'm on a big adrenaline rush. I admit that, but, I'm cool. Everything's good. So they said, look, you got to unbuckle from the seat. Well, keep in mind, the pile of glass is directly under me. And I'm like, guys, that's really going to hurt, man. I'm landing a broken glass. There's nothing else you can do, man. Unbuckle. You drop maybe 6 inches total, and still, I remember the sound just like, yeah. It hurt like a bitch. I think most of my injuries were the glass that fell into me. Then they pulled me out, and the guy said, are you okay? And I said, man, I can't explain it. Maybe I'll feel it tomorrow, but, honest to God, I'm fine. So he said, look, turn around and wave to the crowd to let them know you're okay. There seemed to be some concern. So I turned around and waved to the crowd and realized I'm not looking at the crowd. They're in a completely different place than where I perceived them to be. You know what I mean? I didn't realize how bad the wreck was. And then when I saw everyone, they're like, dude, we cannot believe you're alive. I'm like, was it that bad? They're like, yes. I'm like, to me, it was just one half flip. Plenty of time to think about a whole lot of things.
They didn't have it on video or anything like that to review?
They did for a while, but they had it there, and we never got the video from Evergreen to actually post on our social media.
It should also be noted that that night they had a rollover competition where you hit one ramp with one tire.
Sure.
And you try to roll as many times as you can.
Those losers.
The car, right? So the winner had 2 rolls.
He had 3.5.
Or 3.5 rolls.
I had 7.5.
He had 7.5 for the actual race.
I didn't get a trophy.
He doubled the person that was trying to do that.
Yeah.
Even though it didn't take forever, it seemed like it took forever. 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Justin. Welcome to the men's room.
Liquor and whores.
Liquor and whores.
So this one goes back, I want to say about 2004, 2005, back in the Blockbuster days.
Okay.
I had gotten in the car with my older sister's friend. She had just gotten her license. We were heading down to Blockbuster to go pick out a couple movies for the night. And on the way back, it must have been around October, November when the snow kind of just started.
Okay.
I remember we're heading back in Black Diamond, and we're probably a half mile from our house. And I'm in the back seat, and they got, dance party going on in the front, listening to Britney Spears or whatever. And I remember it's a very obvious 90-degree right-hand turn on this road. And I'm sitting in the back seat. I'm like, she knows about it. I'm not going to be the annoying younger brother. She knows. And we're coming up to it, and I just remember them dancing, and she turned the music up, and I see snow falling a little bit. And I just kind of yell out, I'm like, there's a corner coming up. And they just keep dancing. And then I yell out again, corner. Didn't even hit the brakes once. We Dukes of Hazzard this Chevy Blazer right into a swamp. Missed every single tree on this road and flew into the swamp. But I just remember, obviously, we're going to like 50 miles an hour. And I just remember like looking around, and it seemed like time almost stopped.
Yeah, it definitely does.
But yeah, we launched this little Blazer into the swamp, and we're kind of sitting in there, and then all the steam starts rolling off the engine because we just landed in it. And I freak out, and I start screaming at them that we need to get out of here because I see.
Yeah.
But none of them wanted to get out because we're in a swamp. So I remember I had to carry her. I had to throw her friend on my shoulder and then walk her out in waist-high muck. And then I go back, and I'm going to go grab my sister and take her out of the swamp too. And she's like, I'm just going to walk. And yeah, we make our way out of the swamp.
Do you remember what movie you rented?
Nah, he's gone.
All right.
I'm not going to walk. Just crash the car. Get out of the damn car and walk through the swamp.
Even though it didn't take forever, or what seemed like it took forever. 206-803-ROCK.
Wow.
What's up?
I just bought and financed a car through Carvana in minutes.
You? The person who agonized 4 weeks over whether to paint your walls eggshell or off-white bought and financed a car in minutes?
They made it easy. Transparent terms, customizable down and monthly. Didn't even have to do any paperwork.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Hey, have you checked out that spreadsheet I sent you for our dinner options?
Finance your car with Carvana and experience total control. Financing subject to credit approval.
Low-carb keto yo-yo diets, GLP-1 injections, but you're never going to lose weight if your liver is clogged with fat. So what can you do? It's simple. Almaced. Almaced is a natural superfood protein shake that uses natural amino acids and bioactive peptides to help unclog your liver and optimize your metabolism so it's easier to lose weight. And it's been scientifically proven to preserve muscle mass. Join millions who have transformed their lives with Almaced. Find out more and see the university studies at almaced.com. That's ALMASED.com.
Is your team at work feeling a little disconnected? Maybe the workflow's not flowing? Try Confluence by Atlassian. Confluence is the connected workspace where teams can create, organize, and deliver work like never before. In Confluence, teams can whiteboard their vision for any project, easily create or access the relevant pages and resources they need, and discover important context they might not even know they need. Plus, AI helps teams jumpstart brainstorms, organize information, and connect workflows, so teams can move efficiently and create alignment with ease. In fact, with Confluence, teams can see 5.2% average boost in productivity in 1 year. So if your team lacks confidence, try Confluence, the connected workspace where teams can do it all. Set knowledge free with Confluence. Learn more at Atlassian.com/Confluence. That's ATLASSIAN.com/CONFLUENCE.
The brand new Grand Casino and Shoreline is now open. Step into the action with Vegas-style table games like Baccarat, Heads Up Hold'em Poker, Pai Gow, Blackjack, and High Card Flush. Feeling hungry? Feast on delicious Chinese, Vietnamese, and continental dishes plus breakfast favorites. Dine in or take out. And don't miss daily happy hours from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. to midnight. Grand Casino and Shoreline off Aurora. Open daily from 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. Visit GrandCasinoGaming.com. Welcome to the grand experience.
Auto insurance rates are on the rise, which is why you should call Vern Fonk Insurance. Vern Fonk could save you up to 20% on your auto insurance. The pros at Vern Fonk will do all the work, comparing different plans to find you the best options. And they can insure you over the phone. One call to Vern Fonk could save you up to 20%. Call 206-408-5094. 206-408-5094.
Remember to honk when you drive by Vern Fonk.
Restrictions apply based on a Q3 2023 study of Vern Fonk insurance customers who reported saving when they switched. License number 1070622.
Looking to improve your diet in the new year? Try seeing a personal dietitian with Nourish. Nourish has hundreds of dietitians who specialize in a variety of health concerns, including weight loss, gut health, and more. Meet with your dietitian online and message them anytime through the Nourish app. Nourish accepts hundreds of insurance plans. 94% of patients pay $0 out of pocket. Find your personal dietitian at usenourish.com. That's usenourish.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive. Most of you aren't just listening right now. You're driving, cleaning, and even exercising. But what if you could be saving money by switching to Progressive? Drivers who save by switching save nearly $750 on average. And auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Multitask right now. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $744 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations.
Ready to explore Europe the striped way? Then fly with Condor Airlines. With nonstop flights to Frankfurt, Germany, there are great connection options to several cities. Whether it's the romantic streets of Paris or the stunning beaches of Barcelona, Condor will start your vacation by offering comfortable and spacious cabins. Fly the striped way. Visit Condor.com today.
Are you a bartender that dreads the phrase, hey, can you put the game on? At Sports on What, we understand your pain and we're here to help. Over-the-air satellite, cable, or streaming, Sports on What knows what channel the game is on, and you can too. Follow your favorite teams, set alerts, and filter by provider to get the results you need. Stop wasting time searching and never miss kickoff again. Just download the Sports on What app, and you'll always know how to watch the game. Available for Android and iOS. Start your 7-day free trial when you download Sports on What and subscribe today.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Oh, here's a good one. Speaking of baseball, we're talking about the Cubs and their streak that was like 108 years, whatever. When I was 18 years old, move out, me and my 3 other friends get a 3-bedroom apartment. So I've got one buddy who's basically taken over the living room as his bedroom. And each of us have our own bedroom. But this is our first apartment. It is awesome. We are going to have a party. One of my buddies who graduated from high school, he started working immediately at an Anheuser-Busch distributor.
Oh, nice.
We have a line on a keg. We also have a line on a tap. It is Saturday night. We have told everyone we know this is going to be our first party as official adults in our own apartment. And we're going to have all the girls that we know come over. This is going to be what we believe is going to be an epic night. And it was. Now, I have to go to work that night. So
That night?
Yeah, I look, I knew what was going on. We prepared for the party, but look, these parties, when we started throwing down, normally 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, that was an average time for us to go to sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
We were up all night. So it didn't matter that I had to work a Pittsburgh Pirate baseball game, but the pregame started at 7. So they had a half an hour of it's time for Pittsburgh Pirate baseball. Right. Chicago Cubs were in town, ironically enough, that night. And the game itself goes relatively quick, despite the fact that the Cubs have an 8-0 lead going into the 9th inning. It is the bottom of the 9th inning. The Pittsburgh Pirates start crawling back. This inning, the 9th inning, was about 40 minutes with 3 or 4 different pitching changes from the Chicago Cubs. Bases were loaded. All these things happened. Lo and behold, the Pirates lock it up. It is 8-8 in the 9th inning. Now we go to extra innings, all right? The game typically going to be over about 9:30, 10 o'clock. Normal run time in Major League Baseball, about 3 and some hours then.
Yeah.
The game goes to the 12th inning. They're all tied up. The game is now in the 14th inning. They are still all tied up. And I am losing my mind. Now, the good news is we did have a phone. My buddies were calling me because there was a request line. I could pick up the phone like, dude,
when are you going to get here, man? This game's on TV. It's wild.
Like, yeah, I know.
Like, yeah,
I know it's wild.
It's wild. It's wild, isn't it? Then the game goes to the 18th inning. Now we have reached midnight. Okay?
Jesus.
It is midnight. I will remember two things from this game that were kind of ironic at the time. Both teams are running out of pitchers at this point, okay? So the Pirates, they don't know what to do. They are out of pitchers. So they start pulling people from other positions. The first guy they pull is the right fielder, Tim Wakefield, all right? So Wakefield comes in because Leland knew he could throw a pretty wicked knuckleball messing around.
Yeah.
And he's going to put him on the mound. Well, Wakefield goes in and starts mowing guys down with his crazy 40-mile-an-hour knuckleball. Tim Wakefield never played the outfield again in his life. Now, he is
40 miles an hour?
He's passed on.
Just some slow-ass, unhittable
knuckleball, man. It was
just
like
a bunch of
he's just like
garbage.
he's tossing it, right? But Wakefield never returned to being a position player. He was a pitcher for the rest of a very long career throwing knuckleballs, all right? That's one aspect of this game. But I don't know this at the time. I don't know what's
at the
going on.
time.
At the time, you
This
don't
just
realize
sucks.
that Tim Wakefield is going to be a pitcher for the rest of his life and throw a nasty knuckleball. Now the game goes into the 20th inning, or the 18th inning, 19th inning, whatever it is. I just remember at the end of it, the play-by-play guy for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Lanny Terry, goes, and ladies and gentlemen, if you are still with us, you have just witnessed the longest game in Pittsburgh Pirate baseball history.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And I can't remember what time it was. Like 1:30, whatever the deal is. Then there is a half-hour post-game show where they go down to the locker room.
Right.
And they interview all these guys. And they talk about the next broadcast and all the things.
In 6 hours.
I didn't get home until 2:30 in the morning.
Jesus,
At that point in time, the party had actually basically... It's wound out. The keg is blown. They can't get any more beer, so people leave. So when I get there, the place is completely trashed. Most of the people are passed out. All the people that I wanted to see have left. There's people sleeping in my bed. I mean, everything that was, painful. Because I just wanted to leave, and I'm trapped there.
Right.
Because there are a ton of people still listening to this baseball game.
Of course.
And they're listening on the radio, and I'm running that game, and I can't leave. And I'm just like, so I fly home, like, all my buddies they've hooked up. I open the door, like, anybody's still awake? And buddy's hooked up, another buddy's hooked up, my other buddy's hooked up, two people in my bed. I don't even know who they are. All the beer is gone. The keg is empty. There's cups everywhere. It's just this, you want to talk about pissed. I was absolutely furious that game took that long and ruined the first party we ever had at our place.
Heard it was a hell of a party.
On a Saturday night. Yeah, exactly. Even though it didn't take forever, what seemed like it took forever? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Jeff. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, hoochies.
Hola.
So, last May, we go to sewer school. There's 6 of us.
Sewer school?
Sewer school, yeah. I work in the sewer department.
Okay. I did not know there was a sewer school.
Yeah. So go back a little bit before sewer school. We're going to go golfing. Second time I ever golfed. So me and the old lady watch Happy Gilmore. So I go to work and I say, I'm going to tell everybody, and I did, I'm going to do the Happy Gilmore on the golf course. Never done that before. I'm going to give it a shot. And everybody's all, oh, you're full of it, And I'm like, no, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. So we get out on the golf course. You have to have one beer for every hole. So at number 7 hole, I slammed down the 7th one, turned to Andy, said, okay, it's time. I'm going to do the Happy Gilmore. I turned, I ran up, swung, missed the ball, landed on the ground. I'm holding my leg, and I think I sprained it. And so they're like, no, but yeah, okay, sure, yeah. All right, Jeff, yeah, you sprained it. So they haul me back. We get in the golf cart, go back to the van. I sit in the van, and they finish the game, so they had to get the other 3 holes done first. So I sat in there for another hour before I went to the hospital. And then went to the hospital, told them I think I sprained my leg. So they're like, oh, okay, let's put you in a wheelchair. You go sit in the corner. give us your information, and I do. Go sit in the corner. About an hour later, so now we're 4:30, 6:30, 7:30. It's been 3 hours. Another hour goes by. They lose my information. I have to go back up there again, give them my information, and they're like, oh, my God, his leg's swelling up. We should probably pull his boot off. And so they pulled the boot off, and so I screamed, and they're like, maybe we should give this guy something. So after 2 more hours, I got back, sat in the corner, went to go get an X-ray, and asked the X-ray guy, hey, what do you think? What do you think? And he's like, oh, yeah. Oh, that thing's broke for sure.
Oh.
Well, I've never had a broken bone in my life, ever. I've sprained my arm. I mean, I went down the freeway at 65 miles an hour, tumbled and rolled, and helmet, shorts, and shoes when I was 20. But I've never broken a bone. So come back and never found out. They said, oh, yeah, it's broke. So then the next day, that's all I knew. We go back to the hotel, finish drinking, go back to bed, get up the next day, go to back to the hospital, grab the CD, head down to back to Silverdale where we lived, and the nurse says, all right, we're gonna if you're bad enough, we will give you a call. If not, you'll have to go back to the hospital. So I still don't know what's going on. So this is taking forever. So then she calls me back the next day. You need to be in here tomorrow morning. I go in there. They show me the pictures, and they said, you spirally broke your tibia 2 places, and you broke the fibula off your foot.
Jesus, man.
Yeah. So then I had, the next day, I had surgery. I waited a week. It was a week. I had surgery a week later, which it was supposed to be emergency surgery, but it wasn't.
That's the medical industry. It's an emergency. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. So 7 screws and a plate on the fibula, put it back together, then wait another week and have another plate and 15 more screws. And that was horrible. They took me off my meds. No more Oxy. They gave me Tylenol. And so the point of it is waiting forever to find out what happened. I thought I sprained it, was not, and it went wrong south fast. But swung and a missed, and so maybe if I'd have hit the ball,
look,
it wouldn't have taken so long.
I've played a lot of golf before. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody get injured on a golf course.
Not like that.
I mean, I've seen someone get struck by lightning. That kind of messed them up. But other than
there
that,
maybe fall out of the golf carts.
Yeah, but you get back.
Even then, yeah, you're fine.
Even though it didn't take forever, what seemed like it took forever. 206-803-ROCK.
Speaking of hospital stories just taking forever, my wife had to go in for a surgery last year, about midway through the year. Had some pretty extensive torso issues that she was dealing with there, and they needed to go in there for a hot minute. So we're going through all the preparation of getting the surgery done, and they prepped me, who was basically going to be there. So this is going to be a 3 to 5 hour surgery that she's going to be going through, and so just so that I can be there to take her home if she was able to go home that day, or to just be there to receive her after she was done. I take the day off of work here so that I can wait for this. She goes in for surgery, I think, at 10 o'clock in the morning. She finally goes back. I hang around for about 25 minutes, half an hour before I just say, all right, screw it. They don't need me anymore. I'm just going to go about my day. And then I just wait for that phone call and keep on waiting. And keep on waiting and keep on waiting. 5 hours rolls by. I still haven't gotten a call. 6 hours. I finally get a call. Half of the surgeons are finally done with what it is that they're doing. 6 hours later into the surgery, and we still got further to go. They're bringing in a different specialist to take on another part of the surgery.
Jesus.
8.5 hours later, she's finally out of the surgery, and honestly, by the time she got out of recovery into her room that she was staying, visiting hours were already over, and I wasn't able to go in there. So I'm taking the day off. Just, guys, I got to be there for my wife. I'm going to be a good husband.
I mean, as soon as you got on the air, they would have called.
Yeah, exactly. No kidding.
You don't know that.
No kidding.
Yeah, but hospitals are never fast. Like the last time I had to go to the hospital, my daughter busted up her head on the bed frame. She was 4 years old. Told her, stop jumping on the bed. And, of course, Once you're out of eyesight, the kids keep jumping on the bed. And then my son comes to get us and says, hey, man, she kind of messed herself up. So we had a metal bed frame at the time. She bounced off the bed. And, of course, she hit the back of her head on the corner of the bed frame. So, and... Did
she get a big old goose egg back there?
She split her head open.
Oh,
and, so it's just gushing blood. And, you shave your head, right?
Oh, yeah.
If you nick your head 1 millimeter, you're going to bleed for an hour and a half.
The head bleeds like crazy.
Right? It just doesn't stop. So I knew that it looked worse than it was, but still, this is my little girl. We're going to take her to the emergency room. And I remember as we're filling out the insurance work and everything, the receptionist says, well, is this an emergency? I said, is this an emergency room? She's like, yeah. I'm like, just piece this together. And also, I have this bleeding child in my arm. The blood's dripping through my fingers, that kind of thing. And so there's a woman there before us, and because she saw that I had a kid, as adults are wont to do, hey, you go ahead. And I said, man, no. She's like, no, I insist. Fine. Fill out the paperwork.
Are you sure?
And again, we still sat there for 2.5 hours of this kid just bleeding. And now she's dead asleep on me, so I got to keep slapping her awake just to make sure. But the woman that let us go first, look, long story short, they just had to glue her head back together. So she hurt herself, but she was not injured, okay? And I kind of gathered that as best I could, but you want to be sure. But the woman that let us go first was having a much different situation, but she probably should have been seen first because after she fills out her paperwork, she's sitting across from us, all right? So it's pretty quiet in there. There's just a little TV. My wife and I aren't speaking much. My son, he's just worried about his sister. Sister sleeping. And you hear... And we looked at each other, and I look across at this woman, and she has both hands over her gut. And she gets up and dashes down to the bathroom.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, I don't know what's going on in there, man, but it's to the point that she believes this is an emergency situation. All right, so you can have diarrhea, you can have bubble guts, but I'm like, she's in the emergency room, so I don't know what's coming out the backside.
Floating.
But she believes that it's medical. So she disappears in the bathroom. She's back in 5-10 minutes, whatever. Sits down again. She's looking kind of pale. And again, dead silent. And her eyes light up, hands on her gut again, takes off down the hall, and I'm looking at my wife like, Jesus Christ, man. They
have two doctors.
Is she essing blood? You know what I mean?
Right.
We've all made that sound, but she's here. All right. So this happened a total of 5 times while we're sitting there, and we're trying to act like we don't notice.
Right.
But again, the only Jesus. And she would spurn off each time, but it was to the point that her mom, she had called her mother to wait with her. So I don't know what this woman's deal was, but if you're listening to this show, I appreciate you, man, but sometimes you go ahead and go first.
Even though it didn't take forever, what seemed like it took forever. 206-803-ROCK.
God.
Hello, Todd. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, gentlemen.
Hola.
Hey, guys. You are awesome storytellers. I'll try to make this as entertaining as I can.
Oh, thank you.
Years ago, maybe... dozen years or so, I lived in Thailand. I lived there for 3 years. I enjoyed it a lot and learned the language and, really kind of dove in deep. But early on, I learned a cultural lesson I was not aware of. When you live overseas, I'm sure you guys may or may not know, I guess, you have to renew your visas frequently. And I had an education visa, and so every 3 months, I think it was, we had to leave the country and renew our visa.
You can't renew it while you're there?
No, you got to leave the country.
Okay.
Yep. You can fly to Japan. You can take a bus, go to a neighboring country. You can go back home. But you got to leave the country and come back. So I was just a regular guy, didn't have a lot of money. And so I had a Slovenian buddy, great friend, and so we're on the bus. We're on the long bus going to Laos. And like I said, I'd lived there for a while, so I sort of enjoyed the lifestyle, as it were, and may have had a couple girlfriends. And so I had my girlfriend and my Slovenian buddy. We take the long bus to Laos, going to renew the visas, and we get there, and there was some kind of holiday or something. I don't know what it was, but we ended up being stuck there for 5 days. Not the biggest problem in the world. Most of Southeast Asia is fairly similar, and you can enjoy yourself, have good food and such. But the gal that I was with, on the first day, She went through my cell phone.
Uh-oh.
And she found text messages. They weren't hers. And so that was a little alarming, but the way she explained herself, which was very direct and unemotional, she said, "You're very lucky. Most Thai girls would just stab you."
Jesus.
And so there I am in a little tiny hotel, or just a little, I mean, you can just imagine a cheap hotel in Laos. And I'm stuck there for 5 days with a chick who wants to stab me. I slept with one eye open.
Yeah, I bet you did. Hey, don't feel bad. I've been with a woman for 21 years who wants to stab me.
Even though it didn't take forever, what seemed like it took forever. 206-803-ROCK.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Slow drain being a pain? Call Pinky. That pipe's being a little leaky? Call Pinky. When the toilet won't flush and you're in a rush? Call Pinky. When your shower lost all its spray power? Call Pinky. When your sink's on the blink? Call Pinky. Pinky's Plumbing promises to lick all your plumbing problems quick. So when your plumbing backs up and things get stinky, call Pinky's. Pinky'sPlumbing.com.
Where'd you get those shoes? Easy. They're from DSW. Because DSW has the exact right shoes for whatever you're into right now. You know, like the sneakers that make office hours feel like happy hour. The boots that turn grocery aisles into runways. And all the styles that show off the many sides of you, from daydreamer to multitasker and everything in between. Because you do it all in really great shoes. Find a shoe for every you at your DSW store or DSW.com.
Wow.
What's up?
I just bought and financed a car through Carvana in minutes.
You? The person who agonized 4 weeks over whether to paint your walls eggshell or off-white bought and financed a car in minutes?
They made it easy. Transparent terms, customizable down and monthly. Didn't even have to do any paperwork.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Hey, have you checked out that spreadsheet I sent you for our dinner options?
Finance your car with Carvana and experience total control. Financing subject to credit approval.
Plug in a Hyundai EV and the extraordinary happens. From the charge time and range in the Ioniq 5 and 6 to the adventurous spirit of the Kona Electric to the 601 horsepower Ioniq 5N. Hyundai EVs make the extraordinary electrifying. There's joy in every journey.
EPA estimated 303-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 5 SE SEL Limited rear-wheel drive and 361-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 6 SE long-range rear-wheel drive with fully charged battery. Actual range may vary. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
Hiring is a lonely business. Posting jobs, sifting through resumes, interviews with unqualified applicants, being ghosted. What if you could link with dozens of qualified candidates who are ready to work right now with just one connection? That's Express Employment Professionals. Find us at expresspros.com. One connection, the workforce you need. Problem solved. Express Employment Professionals. expresspros.com.
You're in the men's room. Text the guys at 206-803-ROCK.
A cruise liner stranded in Belfast for months has been dubbed the SS Cluster F by furious passengers after toilets stopped working on the beleaguered ship. Now, passengers, they were on the Villavai Odyssey, and they finally set sail following a chaotic 4-month delay.
4 months?
However, some admitted in the early days they considered leaving the ship for a good due to the smell of sewage that was wafting through the corridors. Another confessed due to the problems with the plumbing and the toilets being unable to flush, it was like a third world situation. In a post on a platform, Joe Rhodes, who had been writing about his doomed experiences on the ship, admitted the water broke on the first night that they set off from Ireland, again, after a 4-month delay. Now, although...
Wait, were they on the boat?
A lot of people flew there and were waiting to come back.
Right.
A lot of people stayed in Belfast. No one was on the ship.
Okay.
So they weren't just sitting there on the boat. But either way, although the water was fixed later in the day, hot water did not return to the passengers until their second day. He wrote, most residents didn't realize this, the shutdown happening in the middle of the night, until after they made deposits, so to speak. So you wake up, you do your thing, you don't realize water doesn't work. So we awaken to the faint smell of S marinating in hundreds of unflushed bowls, wafting through the corridors, gently mixing with the ocean breeze.
He also admitted in the post that the trip hadn't gone exactly as planned, adding nothing about this trip, except for the fact that I've been drunk the entire time, has gone like it was supposed to be. Every single thing, from the food to the furnishings, the TV channels did not work. The swimming pools were not operational, has turned out to be anything less than advertised. He said, not on a catastrophic level. Look, we're on a cruise ship. There weren't any corpses in the cabins or anything, but it's all been somewhat disappointing. Our question, even though it didn't take forever, what seemed like it took forever? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Carl. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So last Labor Day, I decided to take my family to Lake Tahoe, flying out of Seattle. We're going to just catch a quick flight.
Where do you fly to if you're going to Lake Tahoe?
Reno.
All right.
You fly to Reno, yeah. I think it's an hour and a half flight.
Okay, not bad.
Basically, you take off, they push the bar cart through, and you land. So I don't know if you guys remember, but SeaTac got hacked last September.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that, yes.
So all of the internet was down at the airport. I found that out the night before. So I told my wife, well, our flight's at 8, but we better get there extra early just to be safe. So we left the house at 5 in the morning. We got down there, we waited forever to get on a flight. They have these new Alaska gates where there's no gate. You get on a bus and it takes you like up to the cargo terminal.
All right.
So that added a little bit to the adventure. We landed in Reno, I don't know, at 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Get in the rental car. We're driving to Lake Tahoe. We stop at the grocery store to get some stuff for the room. We pull into the hotel, unload the rental car, valet it, go to the desk. They don't have my reservation. So it turns out in South Lake Tahoe, there's 2 Marriott inns right next to each other. Not close enough to push a baggage cart, but close enough to get the wrong one.
Okay.
So we had to wait for the valet guy to go get the car, reload it, drive next door. Basically, the long and short of it, it took us 12 hours door to door to get to our hotel room.
And it should have been, about 2 hours?
Maybe 3.
Yeah, and I think from Seattle, you can drive to Lake Tahoe in about 11.
Yep. Well, you don't want to do that either.
All right, now, do you guys ski or what? Like, what do you do in Lake Tahoe if you're not skiing?
Lake Tahoe in the summer is pretty cool. You can gondola up the ski hill, and they have all the money grab stuff like the rock climbing wall for $20 and the timber cooker for $30 and stuff like that. It was fun.
Yeah, but you also don't realize how big that lake is. I mean, you could be in North Lake Tahoe where the skiing is. If you're staying in South Lake Tahoe, it takes you about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get around one side, if not the whole way around the lake.
Yeah, it's a big lake.
So you don't realize that because it's like North and South Lake Tahoe. But the difference between them is like Everett to Tacoma.
Yeah, it's a massive lake.
You think it's in the same part of the city, but they're 2 totally different cities. South Lake Tahoe is the older part. North is the newer ski area, more wealth there.
North is where you get the cocaine.
South is where you get casinos and those types of things. But it's still quite a drive from Reno over the mountain just to get to Tahoe.
Did you go to Tahoe when you were in Reno?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Stayed in North Lake Tahoe. It was lovely.
So you didn't stay in Reno, you stayed in North Lake Tahoe?
I stayed in both. So I had a hotel room there one night, then one in Reno, Hair Club and I.
My only experience in Reno, and I was too young to gamble or anything, and it's one of those freaking cross-country drives that my parents made us go on, which I guess I'm glad we did it because I got to see a lot of the country, but I hated it, man. You're in the car 14 hours, whatever. Anyway, I remember we stopped in Reno. It seemed kind of interesting as we looked out the window. We stayed at whatever hotel or motel, but I remember my parents, it had been a long drive. They dropped me and my brother off in the room, and they're like, man, there are casinos. Me and your mom, we're going to go out. We're like, cool. They were back in like 20 minutes and just kind of quiet. It wasn't like they were having a fight. I guess Reno just wasn't. I think they were picturing like Little Vegas. That's the sense I get. Because, they were kind of excited to go, man. They looked good. And remember, the door closed. Me and my brother put on whatever TV show. And like in no time, they were back.
You understand. Like when I grew up watching game shows, one of the trips always was
lovely Lake Tahoe.
Weekend at lovely Lake, Reno or Reno, Nevada.
Reno?
Oh,
really?
Reno was another one.
I remember Lake Tahoe.
Reno was the other one.
I feel like Reno's what you get if you lost.
Well, when I got there, I realized why they kept giving away trips just to get people to go.
Yeah, right.
It's like, I get
You're
it
not
now.
going to pay for it, so we're going to give you this.
Even though it didn't take forever, what seemed like it took forever. 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Erica. Welcome to the men's room.
Hi, guys.
Hola.
So my story is basically, do you remember a few years ago in November when we got a bunch of snow all of a sudden?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah, so I ended up sliding into a ditch, and it was the slowest crash of my life.
Was it legitimately slow, or is it just how you perceived it?
Both, because you're on ice and you can't do anything except that you're about to crash into something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that took forever. But what was really nice is that it was like 17 degree heat, 17 degree cold. Sorry, I'm tongue-tied. And there was this woman named Nicole who came and pulled up along next to me, picked me up. It was going to be 5 or more hours before a tow truck could come get me.
Damn.
And, she took me to her mansion, which was like the most picturesque Christmas wonderland I've ever seen in my life. And, and then she ended up calling a different tow service and paid for my tow.
Wow. Well, it sounds like to me like you got the right Good Samaritan.
Seriously, that was restoring my faith in humanity, definitely.
Yeah, that's a nice move. Because I can tell you right now, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But
and you have a mansion.
Yes, and I don't have a mansion. All that.
Yeah. Speaking of Nevada and Vegas, you brought this up earlier. They say long check-in lines are, one of the things you can experience in Vegas. People go for a break and start their trip, maybe hopefully with a ride to the airport, to the hotel, then get to the room, and that's about it.
Have you ever had a long check-in in Vegas? To me, I will say this about my experience in Vegas. There's a million people there, and I don't know what they do different, but like that line seems to move, man. I think the longest I've waited is maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, Resorts World is a complex at the end of the Strip with 3 Hilton brands under one roof. So you got the Hilton, the Conrad, and the Crockfords. And they all share the same restaurants, casino facilities. Rooms are all familiar. You check in at the Crawfords if you're booked into a suite. The check-in lobby is generally low-key and peaceful. But bizarrely, Vegas scores, that did not happen. A report said that they waited up to 7 hours in line just to check in, just to check into the hotel room. And they basically said it was like nothing that they've ever experienced before.
No.
Something happened with the check-in kiosk. Reports are that basically they just broke down for a number of hours, and no one could check in to get their hotel because you could not assign a key.
Right. I'm sitting there thinking you could back things up on paper, but you're right. You can't get the key cards. That's one of the problems when you put everything to technology, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just, if something goes wrong, everything goes south. And, look, I know the electronic key cards. I get why they do them for security purposes, but it also seems like you should also have just backup old school metal keys so that if something like this happens, you can still write down the information that you need. They can still run your credit card, even if it's one of those old school credit card machines, and then just hand me a key and say, look, when we figure this out, we will let you know, and we'll give you the electronic one.
I told you about the time where I was running the half marathon up at the Cascade Pass, and it took 9 miles with me clenching my butt cheeks before I could find a bathroom.
Yeah.
And I really needed to go, and they kept telling me, well, it's just a mile down the road, and they said that 4 or 5 times. Well, at one point in Vegas, I'm there with the wife, and we had, because her thing was like, there's this race in a month. Do you want to do it? I mean, yeah, whatever. Yeah. But you still have to train for this stuff.
Sure.
You still have to get out and run. And I just did it because I was just like, yeah, whatever. I mean, just
if you'll leave me alone, I would
sign me up. Yeah. Well, you get a T-shirt. I don't care.
You get a T-shirt.
But anyway, so we're in Vegas. We're there for like 3 or 4 days, and you do need to still, just even if it's 3 miles, whatever the deal is. So I get the bright idea. I tell my wife, I was like, look, I have mapped this out. We need to run about 6 miles today based on, there's an app that tells you how much you need to run to prepare for all this crap. So I was like, we need to do a 6 miler. I got an idea. I just checked out an In-N-Out Burger at UNLV campus. Is 3 miles.
I know the one.
So I said, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to run through the campus from the Strip, go to In-N-Out Burger. We're going to sit down. We're going to eat some lunch. delicious hamburger, and then we're going to run our ass back. All right, we do it. We go down to In-N-Out, 3 miles, sit down, have a wonderful lunch. Okay, now it's time to run back. About a mile in, I realized that I should have used the bathroom at the In-N-Out burger. Now, one thing you need to know about the Las Vegas Strip is if you're on the Strip, you can enter any hotel you want. If you are behind the Las Vegas Strip, that's where the service entrances are. That's where the loading docks are.
Right.
You can't walk in the back and get into the casino. There was one, so I am running along, and you know these blocks.
They're forever.
They're my, and I am going to crap myself, and I know it. We keep running. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to make it. Eventually, we see a hotel door where you can get in. So I'm like, thank God. But as soon as I see that door and realize that, it's not too far away for me to get this out of my system, that's kind of when you start. It's like when you walk in your door and you really have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, your body's like, all right, go time.
Your body's like, okay, now. It just reprograms. It's kind of reprogramming like that. So I walk through the first set of double doors, and I'm walking in, and all of a sudden it was like, and I'm like, oh, no. Now, keep in mind, it's hot there. I'd been sweating, so my ass cheeks were already swampy.
Right.
I am unsure if they're swampy because of sweat, and then all of a sudden, I mean, every step I take is, thank God there's like a netting in there, right, in these running shorts. So
you pooped every step.
Basically, yeah. I should also say that the hotel that we got in was the Golden Nugget. Anyway,
how apropos.
I get to the bathroom. I do the best I can. I mean, I can only do so much. It's running down the back of it's everywhere, right? When I sat down on the toilet, I covered the toilet in crap because the back of my legs, the whole deal. So it takes me a little bit of time to clean up. And she's waiting for me in the lobby. And I stink. I mean, I smell like crap. And I
Quite
try,
literally.
Because my pants are still, for the most part, soaked in it, right? So I get out of the bathroom, and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no. I said, we need to walk through this casino quickly because I stink. Like, we need to get back to the hotel room now. Well, if you know anything about a Vegas casino, there's no one way in and out.
Right.
It's like an IKEA. You are going to take a tour.
We even go this way.
The walkway is just meandering through every single room to get to the Strip. So then to walk another 2 blocks down the street, which is 1.5 miles, to the hotel room. And then we start walking down the Strip, and my gut starts to rumble again. And I'm like, oh, my God. It was so we...
Did you just get the Outburger at In-N-Out?
Oh, whatever, double, whatever the deal was. But that wasn't it was just, whatever was in there from dinner time, whatever the deal was. But that was the longest walk I've ever taken where I'm just clenched up. There's people everywhere.
Right.
There's people everywhere.
There's nowhere to duck.
I'm in running shorts. You could, you could, if you're behind me.
They know that you pooped
yourself. You can see that I pooped myself or something. Something did not go right. So I'm just like, I cannot. And of course, with the Vegas Strip, you can't just walk down the street. You got to make a right and go up a set of steps.
Then you walk
you walk across the bridge. Then you come back down another set of steps. And you keep, it was like every obstacle that could possibly have happened. It was just in the way of me getting back to the hotel room to change these clothes, which of course I just threw in the trash.
Yeah, of course.
Man, that was one of the worst ones as far as that goes.
What is it about the human body, right? So your brain, they talk about how remarkable the human brain is. And it is in a lot of ways. And then there are some fail-safes that the brain just doesn't have. And to your point, I know I have to go to the bathroom. My brain is indicating that. All of my muscles, whether it's front or back, are letting me know you need to go. And you need to go as soon as you can. Mm-hmm. And I made the arrangement with my brain that I am on this. I hear you. And now me and my brain, we're actively searching for a place to relieve yourself, right? And we're all in cahoots on this. I'm listening to you tell me, hey, man, it's bad. Like, got it, man. And now that other part of me, I am looking as best I can. I'm like a freaking detective at this point. No stone goes unturned to find a place, whether it's inside, outside. And then you find the spot, whether it is a bathroom, whether it's behind a tree or down a hill. You go like, okay, there's my target. But it's kind of like you radio back and you say, we're estimating about 45 seconds before we reach our destination. And your brain says, you got 15, and I'm not effing around. Like, bro, brain, Is there nothing in you that can send this one last spike of adrenaline to my sphincter to keep? I'm trying to cooperate with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm following your lead on this. I have spotted the place that we can relieve ourselves, and you make the determination at that moment, I cannot hold it anymore. If I said we have another 5 miles, brain says, I will hold it.
Yeah.
Like you said, as soon as you step into your home, you can't make it to your own bathroom, or you have those moments where you're undoing your pants and you're already peeing, and you're just kind of like, are you kidding me? You can keep my heart beating without me thinking about it. Oh. My lungs keep expanding. I don't have to give it a thought. Now we're both aware that I have to go to the bathroom. I have found a bathroom, and this is not good enough for you because you're going to expel all of this in the doorway.
Yeah. So there was we had an event, Mike, I don't know, a decade ago. I can't remember how long it was, but it was like Men's Room Day at Emerald Downs.
Oh, yeah.
So you stop by this. I am in Oregon with family, but either way, we're coming back, and I'm going to go do my gig. I'm going to get a ride back home with Steve or whatever the deal is. They're going to drop me off, keep on driving. We get to JB, a little bit south of JBLM, but the traffic is at a standstill. This is before they completed a lot of the construction projects, et cetera, et cetera. I am kind of on a bridge, but we're stopped. So eventually we crawl up to the point where we're kind of off this elevated platform, but it's still a bridge on the highway. When you're driving on the highway, you would never know it's elevated, but that's just kind of how the setup is, right? So I can't just get out and go use the bathroom, because if I did, I'd drop 20 feet into the woods kind of thing. So we finally, after about a half a mile, get to the point where I can actually pull over on the gravel. I'm getting out right now. I need to go use the bathroom ASAP. So I jump over the guardrail. There is a trail, all right? It's kind of headed down underneath the bridge. So I'm like, perfect. I can duck. I can go down there. I've already got a handful of tissues in my hand from the glove compartment.
Very subtle.
I know for a fact that I'm going to use the bathroom underneath. No one can see me. I'm perfectly fine. I rip down my pants. I put my back up against the bridge, and I just let it rip, man. I wipe my ass, and I hear, are you kidding me, man? And I look over, and there's like a couple. And I was having a picnic. I crapped all over the trail, right? I mean, for the most part of basically where they walked down. They got like sleeping bags. Their whole setup is down there, crates, the whole deal. My ass was facing them, and I flew out.
You just went and took a dump
right on the trail, man. Right where they were looking.
No.
I had no idea they were there. They remained perfectly silent until I was done, and the guy's just like, "You got to be kidding me, man!" And I turned around and I was like, "Oh man, sorry. I am so sorry.
Sorry."
I came back up like shaking my head. My kids are like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, nothing. Nothing.
It's fine.
Who's Next Last is coming up at 4:30, and we'll get your emails on the way next in the men's room at KISW.com.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Is your team at work feeling a little disconnected? Maybe the workflow's not flowing? Try Confluence by Atlassian. Confluence is the connected workspace where teams can create, organize, and deliver work like never before. In Confluence, teams can whiteboard their vision for any project, easily create or access the relevant pages and resources they need, and discover important context they might not even know they need. Plus, AI helps teams jumpstart brainstorms, organize information, and connect workflows, so teams can move efficiently and create alignment with ease. In fact, with Confluence, teams can see 5.2% average boost in productivity in 1 year. So if your team lacks confidence, try Confluence, the connected workspace where teams can do it all. Set knowledge free with Confluence. Learn more at Atlassian.com/confluence. That's ATLASSIAN.com/CONFLUENCE.
This podcast is brought to you by Kleenex Lotion Tissues.
You can't predict sick days, but with Kleenex lotion tissues, you can be better prepared for them while helping keep your skin healthy. Whether it's a surprise sneeze or a stuffy nose, it's always good to have something gentle on hand. Kleenex lotion tissues moisturize to help prevent skin irritation while you're battling those unwanted cold and flu symptoms. It's extra care when you need it most. I mean, why not have one less thing to worry about when you're not feeling your best? For whatever happens next, grab Kleenex.
At Cardinal Heating and Air, we elevate your comfort with expert HVAC solutions in the greater Seattle area. Our decades of experience have fostered lasting relationships built on quality service. Whether you need AC repair, heating repair, routine maintenance, a new installation, or an emergency fix, you can trust Cardinal Heating and Air, now offering electrical services. Experience the exceptional service and peace of mind that Cardinal Heating and Air delivers today and for years to come.
Auto insurance rates are on the rise, which is why you should call Vern Fonk Insurance. Vern Fonk could save you up to 20% on your auto insurance. The pros at Vern Fonk will do all the work, comparing different plans to find you the best options. And they can insure you over the phone. One call to Vern Fonk could save you up to 20%. Call 206-408-5094. 206-408-5094.
Remember to honk when you drive by Vern Fonk.
Restrictions apply based on a Q3 2023 study of Vern Fonk insurance customers who reported saving when they switched. License number 1070622.
I've been working with a Nourish dietitian for the last 6 months, and it's been life-changing. I've lost weight, healed my relationship with food, and have way more energy. Working with a dietitian online to create a personalized nutrition plan was so easy thanks to Nourish. The best part? I pay $0 out of pocket because Nourish accepts hundreds of insurance plans. 94% of patients pay $0 out of pocket. Find your dietitian at usenourish.com. That's usenourish.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What if comparing car insurance rates was as easy as putting on your favorite podcast? With Progressive, it is. Just visit the Progressive website to quote with all the coverages you want. You'll see Progressive's direct rate, then their tool will provide options from other companies so you can compare. All you need to do is choose the rate and coverage you like. Quote today at Progressive.com to join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Ready to explore Europe the striped way? Then fly with Condor Airlines. With nonstop flights to Frankfurt, Germany, there are great connection options to several cities. Whether it's the romantic streets of Paris or the stunning beaches of Barcelona, Condor will start your vacation by offering comfortable and spacious cabins. Fly the striped way. Visit condor.com today.
Hey, what's the easiest way to find out what channel the game's on? Sports on What? Subscribe to the Sports on What app and quickly find the channel for every provider. Satellite, cable, or streaming. Sports on What knows the channel the game is on, and you can too. Download today.
99.9 KISW. We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Who sucks last count of at 4:30, but first time for a few emails from the men's room at KISW.com.
You've got mail.
You've got mail. Got one from our question, actually, just about a caller. The RV story has to make the end of the year show. I'm driving down the road, my beer was empty, so I threw one out the window. Empty. Got up to get one out of the fridge. The road curved, but the RV didn't. Are you effing kidding me? Thanks, guys. That from our buddy TJ. Yeah. I'll tell you what, he might have a point there. That might make the end of the year spectacular.
It's just not how I saw that story going, man.
On to the birthday request, bitches. Please, can you all do a birthday shout-out for my ultra-sexy man? He has been a long-time listener, huge fan. He never misses a show or airing. Don McLean has followed all of you for years, maybe decades.
Don or Dom?
Don McLean.
Don, like the singer.
Yeah, well, close enough. His name was McLean. This guy's McLean.
Oh, my bad.
He's 43 years, listens all day, every day, and even the reruns. Special message, Don, my sexy man, I love you. You better be ready for tonight. I'm going to rock that thing. Love, Crystal. So he has a specific request. He wants, first of all, an original fish sandwich, Mike.
Okay, I got you. Hang on. There it is.
Fish sandwich?
The dirty German's telling him he's going to get that ass all night long.
Yeah, I'm hearing from this woman, Crystal, that tonight you'll be getting that ass. I'd like to specify. She actually wrote that, D-A-T, that ass. Thank you, Pussy German.
A couple of shotgun gets from Thrill, if we could.
Get.
And finally, some dad jokes for Miles. Thanks, guys, from a fan and her man. That from the lovely Crystal.
Nice.
All right. Here you go. Don, here's a few. What do you call a key that unlocks the bathroom? What do you call a key that unlocks the bathroom?
A dookie?
A dookie.
Oh! Well done, Mike.
The only thing flat earthers have to fear
is fear itself.
Yes!
Damn, Mike.
Every morning I announce that I'm going running, but then I don't. Every morning I say, hey, man, I'm going to go running. Then I don't go running.
Nope, I don't got this one, Steve.
I got nothing.
It's a running joke.
Running joke.
There's more. What does Bono say after sex? What does Bono say after sex?
Still haven't found what I'm looking for.
That's not bad. No, he says,
oh, thank you.
Was it good for you, too?
Oh, God.
Guys, I was once kidnapped by a group of mimes.
Oh, yeah?
Kidnapped by a group of mimes.
What?
They did unspeakable things to me.
Oh, God.
What does Mike Tyson have in common with his underwear? Mike Tyson.
Fitness.
Both boxers.
Okay. All right.
There's only one 80s celebrity who never once forgot his password. Only one.
Who?
Kenny Loggins.
Nice. Right there.
Nice.
Right there.
All right, couple more. Which country never loses at sports but also never wins?
Never loses at sports
but never wins. Yes.
What, Sweden?
Thailand.
Yep.
Guys, I asked the trainer at the boxing gym if I could try sparring with myself.
What did he say?
He said, knock yourself out. And finally, what type of bed can you almost never get pregnant on?
Nail bed.
Nah, pull out sofa.
Got it, Miles.
Couple extras. Please wish Cotton Eye Joe, a.k.a. Timmy, a very happy 53rd birthday. Have the dirty Germans tell him what they will do to him 53 times. Love, Johnny, Grumposaurus Rex, Preston, and T. Diddles. The wrong one. There we go.
Yeah, Cotton Eye Joe, what we will do to you 53 times, just make sure you orgasm 53 times. But more importantly, oddly enough, I call my penis One-Eye Cotton Joe.
Guys, I know last minute, but can I get a birthday shout out to my buddy Don? We'll recognize his 61st trip around the sun. Despite turning me on to you hooligans, he's an amazing person and a beautiful heart. How about a big old bong rip? Coke Ted teaching him how to roll a joint. Oh, I got a Coke Ted request.
Coke Ted's already back.
Yeah, unfortunately, Coke Ted's not here today.
You want to play the one from yesterday?
He did so much Coke yesterday. And a big old Alfredo fart. Cheers, bitches. That from Rob in Mississippi.
You do not want the Alfredo fart.
No, you don't.
I upset myself.
If the seat wasn't muffling your ass, it would sound like this.
That's what it felt like.
That's what it smelled like.
All right, guys, here you go. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday to you, to you, to you.
Ya's a Dirty Germans brought to you by Men's Room Original Sausage. Available through Uli's World Famous Sausage, mensroomlive.com, and other fine retailers. Schweinefleisch.
Thank you, Bob. A couple extras.
Yeah, we just got a text. We like to call this synergy in the men's room world. So this is from Suzanne at the 884.
All right.
Says, Hola, friends. Kenny from Black Raven just popped into the 884 to say, hey, grabbed one of your beers. Nicest guy.
Nice.
I like that, man.
By the way, if you happen to find the Men's Room 20th Anniversary Lager or the IPA, just shoot a picture of it and then send it to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
Hell yeah.
And we will announce that, so hopefully the more people can enjoy it. It's available where most beer is sold. Your favorite tavern, if they don't have it, ask the bartender, ask the manager if they can carry the beer. Also explain to them the benefit of the beer is the fact that it helps the local Fisher houses in our area.
It serves a purpose.
And there are 3 of them. And as far as maybe needing some money at this point in time, this is an important time to do that.
A very important time.
You got to remember where their finances come from. So you never know. But either way, we can do what we can by drinking the beer, having the Men's Room beer brats from Willie's Famous Sausage, the delicious Men's Room roasted red salsa from San Juan Salsa Company. Portion of all those proceeds benefit the 3 local Fisher houses. If you find any of those products, please take a picture, send it to our show.
Give me permission.
And we will, exactly.
Give Mike permission.
Give Mike permission to on the socials.
I'm sure I already have it. I just don't want to get in trouble. You know?
Right, because if you use that as that,
And I want to give you credit. Like, hey, shout out to Steve. He found our beer.
And also, man, I just like looking at the pictures. It's called beer porn. Like every time I see it, I'm excited. In fact, yesterday,
Send us some.
I got home last night, and I knew that I just finished a 6-pack of the lager.
Nice.
I drank it really quickly.
Like
Usually my
6?
wife kind of frowns on that sort of thing, but I opened the fridge yesterday, lo and behold, there's the IPA.
Yeah.
A fresh 6-pack.
Hey, look, here's a couple things.
Boom, now there's 5.
If you're in the Fremont area, I highly recommend, if you have not been to the Pacific End, go.
Get the fish and
chips for
Yeah.
sure. They have our IPA on draft there. And their beer is always cold and delicious. You know, there's some certain bars that, you know, the beer might be theirs is ice. I mean, it's ice cold, and they serve you in a frosted glass. It's awesome. Also, since I'm a Fremont resident, Petoskey's in Fremont. Not only do they have the Men's Room IPA on draft, but they also have the Men's Room beer brought from Uli's Famous Sausage on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
And they have 2 different ways you can get that. You can get that like a traditional Seattle type dog.
Was that with that cream cheese?
With cream cheese,
All
grilled onions, that speed, or they have a traditional brat. Onions, kraut, whatever.
Okay.
It's like 2 different versions of that. So if you want to go in and get a beer, you want to go in and get a sausage, Petoskey's is a great bar, all kinds of TVs, all kinds of sports on there as well.
Also, side note, if you're looking for the beer, the lager in your average grocery store, I picked up a 6-pack from the Fred Meyer off of South 19th in Tacoma today. It's not in the refrigerated section, and I don't believe that it's in the refrigerated sections of your grocers right now. So look kind of in those unconventional areas. The spot that it was on for me was like, it was on the shelving behind the cashier.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be with the rest of the Black Raven stuff just yet. It's going to be kind of off the side.
They got to make room, but it's
thing.
kind of
Yeah.
funny because a lot of times it's not refrigerated, but as a result of that, it's much more prominent.
There's a
to
ton
see.
of them. So there's a ton of it. There's a huge display. Fred Meyer and Ballard's the same way. So if you're in the meat section there, it's up against the wall as you're starting to walk to where the hot dogs are and the pepperoni and all the things that I stare at and sometimes buy.
No, it's there.
Yes. All right, coming up at 5:08, we will drink and toast with a shot of the day, but first.
Now, the men's room wants to know who sucks less?
Hey, time for Who Sucks Last. Stephen Thrill, you bring us 3 stories from the news each and every week. They always suck. It's up to us to determine, out of these 3 stories, which one sucks the least. Now, if you happen to like KISW on Facebook or X or Instagram, the debate is already underway on Who Sucks Less.
Yes, indeed. As always, we have 3 stories, and I believe all 3 of these have been covered on this program by our very own Mike Hawk.
You're
if
welcome.
not, at least 2 of them have. But let's start with one that we had yesterday. We go to New Hampshire, where a woman was arrested after police found footage of her urinating on food products at the grocery store where she works. And they found that footage in a trove of online videos documenting similar acts dating back 4 years. 23-year-old Kelly Tedford, she tainted a slew of products at the Monadnock Food Co-op in New Hampshire with her urine, costing the grocery store roughly $1,500 for the ruined products and cleaning expenses. Now, the grocery store also had to issue a recall for its organic quinoa, cornmeal, polenta, coconut shreds, and raw walnuts.
Okay.
After she peed basically into the bulk section of those
I was going to say, these are the areas where the bins are.
Yeah,
so you
that's
lift
the
the
bulk.
lid,
Right.
you put it in a bag or
So
your
there's a
container.
pool down there.
Pretty much, just think of walking in a candy store where they have all the bins. It's the same thing if you want any kind of grains or specialty stuff.
I
They
would
have
think,
that area.
And look, I don't know. I've never peed in quinoa or cornmeal or polenta or
Oh,
coconut
man.
shreds or raw walnuts. No, I'm not
You're
living.
missing.
I am not living. But I would think with the quinoa, cornmeal, and polenta, you could definitely tell there's something. There's some kind of moisture.
Right.
You probably don't think it's pee, but I would start to clump
It's like
together.
peeing in rice. Some of it's going to inflate.
But the coconut shreds and the raw walnuts, maybe not. Either way, she peed in all of them. But here's the thing. It wasn't the first time that she was peeing in places that she shouldn't. If anything, it's kind of a hobby for this young grocery store employee. Police recovered multiple videos of her that she posted herself online, showing her peeing on produce, services, and other objects. And the videos date back to 2021. But after reviewing the videos, police, they surmised that the serial urinator likely tormented not only the grocery store, but a slew of nearby communities with their disturbing delinquency. In other words, there were similar incidents in other stores. And when they see the fact that she does this all the time, and it's all in one town, they piece together it's probably her. Anyway, she was arrested. She was also released, but she suffered an arraignment in April. Police launched an investigation with additional criminal charges possible. So far, she's only been charged with felony criminal mischief. So in case you're wondering, peeing into bulk foods, that's a felony. Who knew? Now we go to England, where Ken and Diane Lott, they're both 81 years old. They were in tears after arriving home from the Isle of Wight when they saw damage to their home. Now, the couple, who live in Essex, they found manure had been smeared across their mailbox, but it was caught on closed-circuit TV.
Yeah, that wasn't manure. That was ass.
Now, it's a good point. It's manure when it's treated. It is straight up S when it's there. And you're right. This was S. They're calling it manure because I believe it was horse or cow. But it was, like, we looked at the picture. I'm like, no, that's a turd.
It almost looked like human fecal matter.
Well, the footage shows a woman at the front of the property holding the poop in a newspaper. It also shows the woman at the front door with what they believe is a lid of glue in her mouth, and she leans over the keyhole. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Lott, they were targeted in a similar act in April of last year, in which, again, closed-circuit television showed a paint stripper being poured over their cars. Again, they're 81 years old. Anyway, now they believe the same person is responsible for both incidents, and they're just asking for the woman to stop. Now, the couple's daughter, Julie, she was horrified by the attack at her parents' home, and she actually published the CCTV pictures on social media. She says, quote, "My mom was in tears last night. Both my parents are incredibly distressed. No one needs things like this happening at any time of life, let alone at the age of 81. My parents got home to find a key glued into the front door lock, and when they pulled the newspaper out of the mailbox, it was covered in poop. Closed-circuit television shows the person concerned entered the driveway with the red umbrella up, but they had to pull it down to open the glue, so we got a very clear picture of this woman's face. We have a family, have no idea what is happening. We do not recognize the person involved, but it's definitely the same person that vandalized our cars just last year. We just want to know who's doing it and why, and get this behavior stopped. I just want this person found. This is much more than damage to a door. It's harassment, and I'd be inclined to agree." Anyway, the attack on the couple's home back in April, that's when they saw the paint stripper poured over the family's two cars. Black paint was also sprayed all over the car windows, and construction foam was sprayed into the car's exhaust pipes. Anyway, both cars had to be written off. So they don't know who this person is or why they're doing it, but it seems like once a year, every year, they just do something ridiculous. And finally, we go to my hometown of Baltimore.
Yay.
Where an Amazon driver, he has turned himself in after he was caught on video running over a pedestrian at an intersection and then just driving off. Now, in the video, you can see an Amazon van waiting at a stoplight. The light turns green, and it drives forward. But there's a woman crossing the street in front of the van. So the van hits the woman, and then it drags the woman, and it continues to drive over her. Now, the driver actually got out to check on her, but after about 30 seconds, while she is screaming and crying, he gets back in the Amazon van and continues on. Now, several good Samaritans, they do rush over to help her. The good news is she was taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Reports say she's 29 years old. She's going to be okay. Now, Amazon says they're supporting law enforcement, and the driver's no longer delivering to Amazon customers. But the police are still investigating, but there's a few things to note. It looks like the woman was in the intersection despite having the don't walk signal. It's unclear what happened there. It also looks like the Amazon driver may have been stopped inside the pedestrian walkway. Now, if he didn't see the woman, the fact that he was blocking the crosswalk could be one reason why. Now, we don't know why the driver left the scene, particularly after he acknowledged that he hit her, dragged her, and heard her screaming. But people are talking about Amazon's very strict drivers making their deadlines. But this would be a bit extreme. It's possible that he was shocked and scared and made a very bad decision. Anyway, the 26-year-old driver, he's facing charges of negligence and reckless driving.
Okay.
So those are your three stories today.
That one sucks pretty bad because you almost killed somebody with your van.
That is correct.
In my mind, that is the worst one, just based on the fact that he then left the scene after acknowledging the fact that you ran her over.
Thing. He got out. So he knew
he could have stopped. He could have called 911. He could have helped. He could have done more than what he did, other than leave. I don't know. I don't know from a medical standpoint if you were to ingest someone's urine. What
they say it's sterile.
What that does to your body, but
I don't
still,
think it does anything but just the idea. If I say, "Hey man, I peed in your water,"
food, whatever the deal is, that's still to me. That's a lot of people are affected by that. So in this instance,
because you're not telling people you're doing
correct.
This.
I believe that even though the couple was in their 80s, obviously someone's got some type of either vendetta, grudge. I don't know how you have that against an 81-year-old couple, but either way. You can't take paint stripper off car. Hopefully the insurance will take care of those things. As far as the poop in the mail slot, that's disgusting. But all things considered, in my world, the 81-year-old couple who was vandalized by what I would
think would be somebody in the neighborhood, that probably sucks the least.
Yeah, and you're not alone on there. On KISW's Facebook page, Donna says the neighbor sucks the least. Does say, I want to know what the neighbor did to deserve it, but from the story, from what it sounded like, it was unprovoked.
Right, they exist. They're there.
That's kind of why I'm leaning a little bit more towards the gal in New Hampshire. You're right, it's disgusting, it's unsightly. However, it sounds like the foods that she was urinating on are foods that honestly you should be rinsing in the first place and washing it off and washing your produce, which is what somebody else also said in that comment section. And then I don't think anybody was coming forward saying, hey, my apples smell and taste like pee. So I think I'm inclined to go with the woman in New Hampshire, in which it's disgusting, and I don't condone it. However, I feel like less people knew that they were
You're going
affected.
R. Kelly, I'm going glass bottom boat through the mail hole.
Somebody here says your own urine is sterile, other people's is not.
All right.
Which makes sense.
Okay. Debate continues on Who Sucks Less if you like KISW on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Coming up at 5:08, we will drink and toast with a shot of the day. You are listening to The Men's Room.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Slow drain being a pain? Call Pinky. That pipe's being a little leaky? Call Pinky. When the toilet won't flush and you're in a rush? Call Pinky. When your shower lost all its spray power? Call Pinky. When your sink's on the blink? Call Pinky. Pinky's Plumbing promises to lick all your plumbing problems quick. So when your plumbing backs up and things get stinky, call Pinky's. Pinky'sPlumbing.com.
Where'd you get those shoes? Easy. They're from DSW. Because DSW has the exact right shoes for whatever you're into right now. You know, like the sneakers that make office hours feel like happy hour. The boots that turn grocery aisles into runways. And all the styles that show off the many sides of you, from daydreamer to multitasker and everything in between. Because you do it all in really great shoes. Find a shoe for every you at your DSW store or DSW.com.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
What is Dax, are you?
Tracking all our cars on Carvana Value Tracker on all our devices? Yes, Kristen, yes, I am.
Well, I've been looking for my phone for...
In Dax's domain, we see all. So we always know what our cars are worth.
All of them?
All of them. Value surge, trucks up 3.9%.
That's a great offer.
I know. Sell?
Sell.
Track your car's value with Carvana Value Tracker today.
Plug in a Hyundai EV and the extraordinary happens. From the charge time and range in the Ioniq 5 and 6 to the adventurous spirit of the Kona Electric to the 601 horsepower Ioniq 5N. Hyundai EVs make the extraordinary electrifying. There's joy in every journey.
EPA estimated 303-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 5 SE SEL Limited rear-wheel drive and 361-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 6 SE long-range rear-wheel drive with fully charged battery. Actual range may vary. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
99.9 KISW. The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill.
All right, cut out to 5:08. We'll drink and toast with a shot of the day. We do have your headlines on the way at 5:50. But first, quick check-in with Mike Hawk and some of the stories and headlines he is not working on.
Thank you, Miles. Mysterious, smelly white blobs have been washing up on a beach in the UK.
It's just the sunbathers.
Oh, no. Them pasty, smelly white blobs out there. God. No idea what it is. Hopefully we'll have an update on that soon.
They're fatbergs, probably.
They're fatbergs?
Went out the sewer system.
So they have no idea what it is. They're just like, yeah, we're finding these smelly blobs.
I'm sure that they have theories, and I'm sure we'll get a story about it soon, but I think it's right now in the development. People say there's these weird blobs just washing up on shore.
Does that seem to be happening more and more?
Weird blobs washing up on shore?
Yeah.
Oh, just weird crap washes up all the time.
I mean, specifically these blobs. Typically, it's like fat that's congealed from the sewer or something like that, but I feel like in the last year and a half, the uptick in these stories is pretty significant.
It's a right smelly, icky blob right there. Nasty.
And also something on the beach.
Gary, get up. Take a shower. There's a new study that says belly fat can improve your brain health.
Woo-woo.
But to a point.
Oh.
How
Which
so?
makes sense. I don't know. I'm not working on it, man.
All right.
I didn't read the doggone study.
I'm just happy to hear it.
I'm fat and smart, brother.
Well, I think our bodies do need fat. That's the whole thing. Is that people that
they do need fat,
just like a ribeye.
Exactly. People it makes it taste better.
Marble.
You know, there's people that have a 2% body fat, and while they have a physique that is second to none, your body does need fat. It needs that stored energy, and it needs it for other means.
Yes, it does.
So I suppose that's what it is that fat feeds your brain. That's why all them yoked up guys are a bunch of morons, man. Idiots. Don't kill me. The Las Vegas Police Department is introducing the first fleet of Cybertrucks for the police force.
Is there any particular reason other than, he got a, $15 billion subsidy. So yeah, I'm going to cut costs, but I'm taking $15 billion. That's BS. But are they...
They're bulletproof.
Doing what?
They're bulletproof.
Are they faster? Are they more agile?
I'm sure they could soup them up. You know, the police forces, the cars that they use have different innards than your average car, so
Yes,
I wouldn't be shocked if they could soup up a Cybertruck.
Well, the problem is the if you are injured in a crash in one of those,
call the advocates.
Well, yeah, and also you're highly unlikely to be, based on the fact that, number one, the crumble zone works so well in that truck.
Right.
But the truck is so heavy itself. If you are in a high-speed crash, you ultimately decimate the vehicle that you hit. So it's more about so if you get in a high-speed chase and you accidentally hit another vehicle, more than likely it's not going to be a good scenario for anybody involved compared to a regular vehicle based on the weight.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Archaeologists have found a Stonehenge-like circle in Denmark. Where has it been? Denmark is not that big. Really? We haven't explored enough of Denmark to where we found this doggone Stonehenge circle.
Did they find it? Is it like one of these underground things, or like they just go, oh my God, look at that.
You know what? I'm not working on it.
Look at the stone formation sitting here.
Right, so I can't tell you that, but the picture that they showed is just a field with Stonehenge out there, so it very well could have been just the normal Stonehenge. But I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, I fathom that there are places that we haven't checked out around here.
No, but you're right. Denmark. Right.
Come on, man.
Mike's not impressed.
No, I'm not. Doggone Stonehenge has been there. It's Stonehenge 2 is what that is.
Most of that stuff is based on astronomy, as far as just making a clock, making a calendar, making all those things based on how the sun passes through those columns.
I'm about to say,
so it's a way to keep time.
Sure.
In a weird way.
I keep time as far as the annually.
The season.
Or even the day, as far as, the day's getting shorter and where the shadows fall. And all those things give you an idea of where you are, time-wise.
That's how we can know that we're coming up, between fall and spring here, because the light's reflecting off that building over there.
Giant sundial.
Well, that's what a clock is. Not the digital one, but if you have a regular analog clock, it's based specifically on a sundial.
Right.
I mean, that's specifically what it is. I mean, to this day, we still kind of use the same general premise. And honest to God, before cell phones, when I wasn't wearing a watch, if someone asked me what time it was, if you could figure out north, you look at your shadow and say, look, man, it's between 2 and 2:30.
Right.
You can get within half an hour. It's fail-safe.
The thing is that the sun is up for different periods of the time throughout the year.
It is.
Currently the days are getting longer. So does your shadow still end up in the same spot at 2 o'clock every day?
No.
Pretty much.
Well, I mean, it depends on the height of the sun, or where the sun is in the atmosphere.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, if the days are shorter, the sun's moving across faster.
Moving across faster, but I'm telling you, if face north, look at your shadow, you will not be more than 30 minutes wrong.
Well, we don't get sunshine in those short days.
Well, the problem is if you're here and you don't have sun, you go, I don't know what time it is.
We just walked around a whole lot without knowing what doggone time it was.
Yeah.
Steve, I'm sure you're already up on this, but do you know what's
wait a minute. Hey, somebody checked in. In Denmark, they found the stones underwater.
Underwater. Okay. That's better. Good work, Denmark.
All right.
There we go. That's better. Explore your doggone water.
Turns out the fish created their own sundial.
Steve, you're my space guy. You know what's about to happen for the last time until 2040?
7 planets lining up.
7 planets are about to line up.
Right?
Friday night. That is correct. Okay. End of the month.
They're partiers, man.
So it's all lining up, and it's just like one star, essentially?
So no, what's going to happen is the picture that I saw is going to have them basically, you'll see them in the night sky lined up.
Yeah, so it won't look like anything impressive unless you know what you're looking at.
I know,
right? So it'll look like 7 dots, and you kind of go, it's all the planets lining up. Cool.
The greatest thing in the world could ever happen that you could see at night. And every time something like that happens, we're in a cloud cover.
Yes.
You need to drive someplace else. Whether it's the Aurora Borealis.
About to say, the first time in forever, the Aurora Borealis is extending.
Comet zipping through, whatever the deal is. It always seems like all of a sudden these clouds just come right in.
I hate it. We're too doggone close to the city, so we got all that light pollution
Not
out
for
there,
you.
so we can see a doggone
One
thing.
time that we had the Northern Lights, a year ago, within the last year, whatever.
Within the
it was.
last year.
I did not see any. Ted lives maybe a mile away, mile and a half, not even a mile away. He went to the local park, showed me all the pictures. I'm like, son of a bitch, I went outside to look at this, Cool, I don't have to go to frickin' Norway to see the Northern Lights. I want to see this. I saw nothing. Ted's like, look at my pictures.
You're not supposed to really roam around. When I went to see my daughter in Africa, you're not really supposed to be out too far away at night.
Because the hippos, man.
But no kidding. But I would walk out, and every night I was mesmerized. I could not. I could not stop looking at the sky and the stars.
Yes,
it was so clear.
And you've never seen those stars.
I've never seen the southern hemisphere.
Right.
No. So all
it's
these
an
things,
entirely different set of stars.
I'm looking up and I'm like, I can't identify anything. There's no Orion.
Can you find the Southern Cross? That's their big one. That's their big one.
See, because there's so many bright objects in the sky. It was kind of hard to figure out what was what. So I don't know if I could. I tried to download that thing where you hold your iPad up,
Space,
but it wouldn't download because I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Because you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
When I was in Scouts, we did a summer camp, and I took the astronomy merit badge, and that was the first time that I learned about light pollution. We hiked out in the middle of a field, and then basically we learned about a couple things before we went to bed, and then we woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then hey, look at the sky, and same thing. It's
staggering.
You see these photos of these brilliant landscapes that have all those stars out there, and it looks like it's digitally recreated. It's not at that point.
I'm telling you, man, and look, if you live out in the cut, you take this for granted, but seriously, when you kind of get out of town, so to speak, and just look at the night sky, it's
beautiful.
It is humbling. It is wonderful. It's all those things.
Hey, yo. Virginia is considering legislation that will require backseat passengers to buckle up.
I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
Nah.
I mean, look, like anything else. You get into a vehicle, put the seatbelt on. It's more than likely going to help you.
Yeah.
In the event of bad things happening.
You should. But
Funny, my kids do it already.
Yeah.
Good. And I'm glad they do, but I mean, like, they get in the car, their first order of business, put on the seatbelt. Like, good, because we're ramming this bitch.
You get in an Uber and get in the back, and they have an electronic thing going like, fasten your seatbelt.
Right.
Fasten your seatbelt.
Please fasten your seatbelt. For your safety, because we don't trust our drivers.
So,
yeah. What do phones, keys, and Stephen Baldwin all have in common?
Phones, keys, and Stephen.
You're right. They're all easily forgotten, and just like the rest of our list.
The Men's Room Top 10. The Men's Room Top 10.
10 or more things people between the ages of 37 and 48 have forgotten about, but live rent-free deep in their silly, stupid little minds. Who the hell cares? You know who this appeals to? People with high cholesterol. People who still use hairspray with outrageous bangs. People with stuffed animals on their beds. People who think Lucky Charms are healthy. People who wish they could still smoke indoors. People who pick their scabs and eat them. People who still display their first place spelling bee ribbons.
Proud of that.
In other words, losers.
Oh, God. So these are things that millennials and Gen Xers have forgotten about. And anybody remember just how controversial The Simpsons were and how Bart was a bad influence?
I remember hearing about. I had moved out of my parents' house. I'm on my own. Granted, my parents did not care one way or another, but I do remember that people lost their minds when Bart became the voice for Butterfinger.
Yep.
How could you put this satanic son of a bitch? Oh yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, all my friends were watching The Simpsons, and I asked my parents, like, "Hey, can we watch The Simpsons?" No, I don't like how the kid talks to the dad.
If you see how the dad responds, be like, "Watch this."
That's right.
Because this is what happens when you run your mouth.
I feel like you and Ted do this there, Steve, but quoting so many things from In Living Color.
Yeah, it can't help it, man. There's certain things, they're just sticky with us.
And I wonder how many things I don't realize that even I've probably quoted not knowing that it was from In Living Color. Just because they become socially part of the slang.
Well, my kid will, instead of saying blah, 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 will say yada, yada, yada. And it's like, I know you've never watched Seinfeld in your life.
Right.
He will say dough. He does do that. If he makes a mistake on something, I'm like, I know you know that's not from The Simpsons. These things now are just part of the lexicon.
Correct.
I'm just old enough to know that.
Anybody remember the blurry AF White Diamonds commercial where Elizabeth Taylor says, "These have always brought me luck"?
Yes. I do. I do remember those.
Glad to forget about that one. The roller coaster scream during the opening credits of Step by Step.
No, I did not watch Step by Step.
No, I was out of my age range.
How huge Steve Urkel mania was that there was even a talking doll and cereal based off of
Yes.
it. There was a talking doll based off of a guy who had an annoying AF voice.
I didn't even watch the show, but I was super aware of who Urkel was. You're not surprised that I just knew that this guy was this goofy ass icon. You can even quote him without actually watching the show.
Star Wars kind of started that formula on toys and other accessories.
All right.
So did the lunchboxes. So when you had like the A-Team, say, you had a lunchbox, you had different crap.
But this was Urkel.
You also had a cereal, Harlem Globetrotters, same way. They had a cereal, so that was kind of like where they put that marketing. Kids, how do you sell to kids? It worked for Star Wars. What else?
Oh, yeah.
It worked for E.T. What else can it work for?
I don't think I had ever seen that show, but even I knew. Didn't I do that?
Right, exactly. That's what I mean. And it sounds stupid, but you go, man, credit to you.
10 things millennials and Gen Xers have forgotten about. Madonna's sex book that came wrapped like a condom and had you wondering what the hell was in it.
I remember her putting it out because she was. It's always kind of a. Look, I don't have the highest opinion of Madonna, but that said, she would do. It was so manufactured. Was my problem. Like there were people that were legitimately rebellious, whether it was rap going on, but these guys seriously said "F you" to everybody, and people were scared to mess with them. Rock, not the glam metal bands, but a lot of rock bands, "F you," and no one would really mess with them. And Madonna was so manufactured.
Sure.
With the crap, like, dude, you're controversial because people are easily upset, but it's so contrived. It bugged me. It just bugged me.
They say just how cool and different CK1 was when it came out. Calvin Klein, even though everybody ended up wearing it. You guys,
I'm never a cologne guy, but I do remember it coming out.
I know I had seen this cologne all over the place. Like when I was detailing cars, there was always a bottle of it in somebody's car day by day.
Well, in my world, it's kind of lost its luster since the 80s. That seemed to be the high point in my lifetime of cologne.
Okay.
Unless I get on the elevator in this building, then I realize I'm completely wrong.
But the 80s, man, I mean, the 80s was all about excess. It was a great decade to be alive. You didn't realize how ridiculous you were, but colognes, ridiculous clothes. I mean, you name it, man. If you could think of it, you could wear it.
Laughing at Mr. Furley's panic attacks on Three's Company.
Absolutely.
Which was also a sort of inappropriate show to have run in reruns after afternoon cartoons, they say.
Yeah, I watched that show religiously when I was a kid. And you're right, super inappropriate, but the jokes you don't get.
And physical comedy was great. Between Roper, who broke that window, the third window, when he would he would lay down a line, but then he would look at the camera.
They said, tell the audience, I just made it funny.
Don Knotts, his physical reactions to things. He didn't say a word. It was just the way that he reacted to stuff. There's a lot of comedic genius in that show.
Nice. Lassie, Dennis the Menace, and Mr. Ed being on for hours during the day on Nickelodeon, taking precious cartoon time.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's all we had.
There was a bunch of shows that just sucked.
Because we had no cable.
My Three Sons, Mr. Ed, they were Hogan's Heroes.
Right. Well,
they're all average.
When I was growing up, it was Nick at Night, which sounded exotic until now that I realize that Nick at Night was just my parents' shows when they were growing up.
That was it.
You know, there was the Wonder Years. It was Happy Days. It was all these other shows that they just started rerunning on Nick at Night because the parents were still awake and the kids had passed out watching cartoons.
And that's the thing. You've been sitting here with your kids watching this stuff. At this time, we'll put on crap you remember.
Right, here's the payoff. The red sports car VHS rewinders that looked so cool.
I do not remember that.
No, me neither.
That is so stupid.
Oh, but you can rewind a cassette in that, yes.
Right. Why didn't you just rewind it in the VHS machine?
No, because that's what's cool.
Oh, because basically they did have rewinders so that you wouldn't break your VHS.
Oh, gotcha.
The idea being that, you didn't have that zzz, put in something else.
Speaking of which, the cabinet shelf full of old VHS tapes that you didn't even know what was on them because even the labels were mislabeled.
Because the labels were just the name of the company that produced the thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the picture said JVC.
Right.
Maxwell. Like, I have no idea what's on here, but we kept it.
Right. I know somebody, I call him Dad, who had HBO at one point, and his bright idea, he just recorded every movie that ever played on HBO.
Brilliant.
That's right. And so we had a whole library of doggone movies that he just pirated off of HBO.
Sure.
Oh, criminy. And then this is the number one thing that millennials and Gen Xers have forgotten about, but lives in our head rent-free. Waking up to your favorite radio station whenever the alarm went off on your Sony Dream Machine.
Yeah, that was a
dream
huge
machine,
thing, man.
but I've got the progressive light that puts on the radio station every morning when I wake up.
That's right.
It's kind of cool. Reminds me of being a kid.
That's the thing. You know, when I was a kid, I never woke up to an alarm. I woke up to the radio.
Sure.
That was
Yeah,
the thing.
exactly.
Absolutely.
And you had the
better than
choice.
the
Can you
alarm.
want the alarm? You want the radio? Always the radio.
Right, 100%. Because when you have that moment when your alarm goes off and you dream through the alarm,
yeah,
the radio being on is a hell of a lot more pleasant than,
Yes, it
than
is.
the alarm being on, man.
Your Nick in the morning. That's who was on 102 WVAQ. Look out.
A man attempting to fly from Colombia to Amsterdam was forced to have cocaine. Was found to have cocaine in his possession. Found to have cocaine in his possession. But you won't believe where they found it, Miles.
Where did they find that cocaine?
Tell you all about it at 5:50.
Thank you, sir. Headlines are coming up at 5:50. In the meantime, have we made it to drinking time?
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the men's room knows just who it is. So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Quick time it is, and as usual, we head to the drink test and Steve Thrill Hill to find out who we're toasting.
Yes, indeed. And today's shot is brought to you by the fine folks at Black Raven Brewing, the proud brewers of Men's Room IPA and the Men's Room 20th Anniversary Lager. Mike, did you know that just by me saying that, people have been giving me love here at work?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I swear to God.
Fantastic. You know what? I'm glad that you're being recognized.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for that. Today, we toast a 63-year-old woman from DeVille, New Jersey. Now, today's honoree, she's the owner of Oasis Spa, a massage studio on Route 10 West. Authorities, however, they believe that Oasis Spa was a front for prostitution. And last Tuesday, the Morris County Police, they swarmed the business, and sure enough, the spa was in fact running a prostitution ring. Now, we're not saying that the writing was on the wall, but the spa owner's name, who was arrested, her name was Soon Bang. Now, maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, who knows? Just saying, it's right there in the name. Shockingly, she chooses to go by Cindy. But yeah, her name
Cindy
is
Bang.
Soon Bang. And can you believe that Soon Bang runs an illegal prostitution ring at a massage parlor? I will be damned. So let's drink. We pour this booze, and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy!
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies. Down the hola bichola.
Let's get a contestant on the line right now for Profile This, 206-803-ROCK. Profile This is next.
Hiring is a lonely business. Posting jobs, sifting through resumes, interviews with unqualified applicants, being ghosted. What if you could link with dozens of qualified candidates who are ready to work right now with just one connection? That's Express Employment Professionals. Find us at expresspros.com. One connection, the workforce you need. Problem solved. Express Employment Professionals. expresspros.com.
This podcast is brought to you by Kleenex Lotion Tissues. You can't predict sick days, but with Kleenex Lotion Tissues, you can be better prepared for them while helping keep your skin healthy. Whether it's a surprise sneeze or a stuffy nose, it's always good to have something gentle on hand. Kleenex Lotion Tissues moisturize to help prevent skin irritation while you're battling those unwanted cold and flu symptoms. It's extra care when you need it most. I mean, why not have one less thing to worry about when you're not feeling your best? For whatever happens next, grab Kleenex.
Is your team at work feeling a little disconnected? Maybe the workflow's not flowing? Try Confluence by Atlassian. Confluence is the connected workspace where teams can create, organize, and deliver work like never before. In Confluence, teams can whiteboard their vision for any project, easily create or access the relevant pages and resources they need, and discover important context they might not even know they need. Plus, AI helps teams jumpstart brainstorms, organize information, and connect workflows, so teams can move efficiently and create alignment with ease. In fact, with Confluence, teams can see 5.2% average boost in productivity in 1 year. So if your team lacks confidence, try Confluence, the connected workspace where teams can do it all. Set knowledge free with Confluence. Learn more at Atlassian.com/confluence. That's ATLASSIAN.com/CONFLUENCE.
So I actually tried Gemini a couple days ago, the Gemini Live where you can talk to it, and it is really crazy to have a full-on conversation with this thing. I was just messing around, so I asked it to give me ideas for hosting during the holidays. And when it starts giving you results, you can just stop it and say, okay, but what about something low-key for a smaller group? And then it adjusts to that, and you can just keep going until you get an idea you want. I think that's what I would use it for the most, brainstorming stuff. It's so good if you don't know where to start or if you hit a wall, you just go to Gemini. It helps you get the ball rolling. But obviously you can use it for all kinds of stuff. If you want to learn something new, you can have it give you advice, ask it to explain Bitcoin in simple terms, or you can have it quiz you on microbiology. I mean, imagine being a student and you've got this personal tutor on hand. It's hard to explain. You really just have to play around with it, see how it listens to you, responds, adapts to your style of conversation. Just try it out. It's free.
Auto insurance rates are on the rise, which is why you should call Vern Fonk Insurance. Vern Fonk could save you up to 20% on your auto insurance. The pros at Vern Fonk will do all the work, comparing different plans to find you the best options. And they can insure you over the phone. One call to Vern Fonk could save you up to 20%. Call 206-408-5094. 206-408-5094.
Remember to honk when you drive by Vern Fonk.
Restrictions apply based on a Q3 2023 study of Vern Fonk insurance customers who reported saving when they switched. License number 1070622.
If you have health insurance, you might be able to see a personal dietitian for $0 out of pocket. Nourish connects you with a dietitian that fits your needs, covered by your insurance. Nourish accepts hundreds of insurance plans, and 94% of patients pay $0 out of pocket. Meet with your dietitian online and message them anytime through the Nourish app. With hundreds of 5-star reviews from real patients, you know you're in good hands. Find your dietitian at usenourish.com. That's usenourish.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive. Most of you aren't just listening right now. You're driving, cleaning, and even exercising. But what if you could be saving money by switching to Progressive? Drivers who save by switching save nearly $750 on average. And auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Multitask right now. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $744 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations.
Ready to explore Europe the striped way? Then fly with Condor Airlines. With non-stop flights to Frankfurt, Germany, there are great connection options to several European cities. Whether it's the romantic streets of Paris or the stunning beaches of Barcelona, Condor will start your vacation and make it even more memorable by offering comfortable and spacious cabins where you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. Fly the striped way. Visit condor.com today.
Hey, anyone know what channel the game's on? We know. Download the Sports on What app today and always know how to watch the game. Satellite, cable, or streaming. Sports on What knows the channel the game is on, and you can too. Subscribe today to start your 7-day free trial. Sports on What? We know.
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
And Stephen Throwhill, could you please, everyone, how Profile This is played?
Oh, I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes the story a story. Hello, Fox. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, bichola.
Hola. All right, Fox, you understand how this here game is played.
I do indeed. I just want to say a quick shout out to 20 years. Congratulations, you guys.
Hey, Fox.
Thank you, dude. We appreciate
Just
that,
like
man.
20th Century Fox.
You know, that does work out. 20th Century Fox.
Let's go.
Glad you're here, man. All right, Foxy Duty. Today, you have your choice of one of 3 stories. We have the wonderful world of drugs. We have Animalized This, where you guess the animal responsible for causing the problem. And finally, today, License to Spill, where you guess the substance that caused the mess.
Let's go drugs.
Man, drugs has been the major winner last couple of weeks. I think it speaks to our audience.
Yeah.
All right, here is your story. A 40-year-old Georgia woman, Shannon Hampton. She was arrested after she severely injured a teacher at an elementary school while she was driving under the influence. Now, reports stated that Hampton was found driving while under the influence of drugs before crashing into the teacher's car. State troopers said that Hampton was pulling up for Old Timers Barbecue, tried to make a left turn, but she pulled in front of a southbound Ford F-150. The impact of the F-150 caused the truck to spin in the northbound lane. It made contact with other vehicles, sending it into rotation. Reports stated that the teacher was rushed to a local hospital and later to an Atlanta hospital to be treated for her injuries. Now, while investigating the scene, officers found drugs in Hampton's purse. A further search resulted in officers finding a burnt joint in her vehicle. The Hampton is charged with DUI, serious injury by vehicle, possession of drugs, possession of marijuana, driving on a suspended registration, failure to yield, seatbelt violation, and a probation violation. Now, the question is, what was this classy lady on when she caused the crash? Was she on meth? Was she on crack? Was she on heroin? Or was she on Xanax? So meth, crack, heroin, or Xanax?
So she had cannabis with her, yeah?
She had the burned out joint, that much they established. She'd already smoked that, and then she had done another drug in addition to smoking weed.
What's the upper? Because it's between heroin and meth, right?
Meth and crack will both get you up. So I've heard.
I'd probably go with crack then, right? Just like to even out. Or is Xanax an upper? I don't know what Xanax.
No, not really.
No, that'll slow you down.
So Fox, you're going speedball. You're going crack and marijuana, right?
Yeah, let's go crack.
All right, I want to go meth. Mike, where are you going?
You know
Let's go crack. I think it's a T-shirt that says that, Fox.
I think she's chilling right out. Give me the Xanax.
Going Xanax?
Okay. What was this woman on? Meth, crack, heroin, or Xanax? We'll find out next.
That was a tease.
You are listening to The Men's Room.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Our category drugs on profilers. We got a Georgia woman was arrested after injuring a teacher who was driving her truck. Thing is, the woman had a big truck. It was a Ford F-150.
That's not a big truck.
The way that she hit the teacher, spun around, messed her up pretty bad. She had to go to a couple different hospitals.
Yeah.
Either way, the woman was found with a joint in her car, but there were drugs. So the question is, did she also have meth, crack, heroin, or Xanax?
And Fox, that is the very question we pose you. By the way, Fox, why is your name Fox?
It's my middle name. I'm a 1/8 Blackfoot native.
All right.
Awesome.
That makes sense then, man. All right. Fox. I dig it. I'm just saying, like, very few people would have Fox. All right.
Yeah.
But let us start with our very own Mike Hawk, who went with Xanax.
All right.
Went with the old Xannies.
See, your middle name could have been Hawk.
Yeah.
My brother's middle name is Wolf, actually.
There you
There's
go. That's what I'm saying.
By birth and everything.
Okay, let me ask you this. Are you jealous that he's Wolf and you're Fox? Now, look, I want to be clear. Both are kind of cool, but, like, in the scheme of fighting, a wolf's going to take out a fox, right?
No, we are very personified of our spirit animals, so I very fit the mischievous fox,
Don't
persona.
worry.
Are you mischievous because you had the middle name that allows you to be, or you just are by nature?
Yeah,
little
nature
column
and
A,
nurture.
little column B.
All
All right, fair enough.
Like, if my name were Hippo, I would just start fights and eat everything. All right, let's see. Fox, you went with crack. I'm afraid it is not crack.
Miles Montgomery.
That doesn't mean you're right, but we go with Miles last, and you went with meth, and you are correct.
Bang!
Know your meth.
Bang! Now, for all TV news all the time, it is time for TV Time with Ted.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box, the Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
Hello, everybody. The Ted Smith
Oh
is
my
out
God.
right now.
It's Mike Hawk.
I'll be covering there on the TVs. I'm going to start things here on a somber note because I'd like getting the bad news out of the way. I was shocked and absolutely devastated to hear this. All my fellow millennials, prepare yourselves. I'm sorry to say, actress Michelle Trachtenberg passed away earlier today.
Did you recognize her when you saw that
I
picture?
did. I know her by name, man. She was 39. It says here, the Harriet the Spy star was found dead Wednesday morning after going into cardiac arrest in her New York City apartment near Columbus Circle. The New York Police Department said that she was, quote, unconscious and unresponsive when officers and paramedics arrived. She was pronounced dead on the scene.
She had just had a liver transplant.
She had just had a liver transplant.
She had been fighting a drinking problem. I only know this because I read it today, and it's one of those things, and Mike, we talked about this earlier. I said, look, I know her by name.
Correct.
But I did not know why I knew who she was. And then today, sadly, this is a day where you get all the information. And I go, oh, man, cats like Ted and Mike, this has to be devastating because this is definitively your generation.
Right.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer and all that. So, like I said, for me, it is a name that I've heard. Mm-hmm. She has since passed, which is sad no matter what. But for you, somebody kind of grew up with her, man. Like, what is the hit?
It's wild, dude. So when I was a kid, growing up, Harriet the Spy was one of mine and my sister's favorite movies growing up. We had a handful of our mainstays, and Harriet the Spy was one of them. We watched it all the doggone time. She kept a journal, and she was doing all this fun stuff. Rosie O'Donnell was in it when she, wasn't crazy. And it was a great movie, and I loved it, and I had a lot of fun with it. And then as she got older, I didn't see this movie, but I remember watching it come out. It was called like The Ice Princess or something like that. It was another Disney movie. So she moved from Nickelodeon over to Disney. And so it was kind of fun seeing her progression because we were similar age. She was born 85. I was born 90. So we were kind of a similar age there. And I was happy to see her progress there. Watched the movie Euro Trip when I got a lot older. All of a sudden, she started looking a lot better in that movie. So this is one that is wild to me. There's been a handful of people that were there with me in my childhood that have passed away, and this is one that hits oddly hard.
Like for me, and I know it's going to sound ridiculous. For me, it would be like Alyssa Milano and Drew Barrymore. And I'm not a massive fan of it. Yes, I find them attractive and all this stuff. I don't watch the Drew Barrymore
started as a baby in freaking TV.
But
dude.
I'm like 4 years older than her. So kind of like you're saying, you kind of track by age.
Yeah.
They're still doing the thing that you've always known to do, which is act or at least be on TV. It would crush me in a weird way if I heard even Shannon frickin' Doherty when she died. Yeah. I did not watch Beverly Hills 90210, but I knew who she was. We were roughly the same age. So you always kind of keep track of this person. You hear they die, and you're just like,
also,
wow,
I'll say this: maybe she had some other medical things going on with her.
Sure.
To make this progress so bad, as far as what she was doing to herself, and that's the case. I don't know anything about.
That's what I read today.
But it seems like that is awfully young to
39
to be putting that much damage. And I'm not saying it's impossible to do, but trust us. I mean, you know how much we throw down.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that there's not a chance in hell that we're not going to die early, but to die that young.
But I get the feeling
she must have really to get a liver transplant at that age.
But I think the difference is, so we like to throw down.
Well, like think about Larry Hagman got his liver transplant, and he was 55.
But I think with her, it was, I'm not just throwing down. Also, at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm taking down a bottle of vodka.
Right.
And that's the difference.
And we see that a lot with child stars that grow into it. Drew Barrymore, as you mentioned, went through
Macaulay Culkin,
Lindsay Lohan, Miley Cyrus. They all had their bouts of the showbiz industry is a devastating one. I mean, hell, we deal with it. We're in radio, which is kind of on the lower end when it comes to show business.
We're on the lowest end.
In its own right. It's
still,
it's got its stresses.
Yeah.
You're going into work every day, and while it is fun, you got to make sure that the ratings stay up and they're doing well. So there's a lot of stress there. And when it comes to movies and acting and whatnot, you got to make sure that you're still doing those jobs.
That sounds like a 12-year-old child. Like, hey, we need you. And on TV, you're going to tell a 12-year-old kid, hey, you need to lose weight.
Right.
Think about Judy Garland and Wizard of Oz. The one thing they say, like, hey, to make sure she did not gain weight during the filming of Wizard of Oz. And keep in mind, she was a minor. It was drink 5 cups of coffee a day and smoke 2 packs of cigarettes.
Right.
Just so you look right.
Exactly. So sad news there to get us started with. So now let's flip it back over. Let's get onto a lighter note. It is your childhood. I don't care who you are. It is your childhood. You're waking up. It is a school day. You feel like absolute ass. You are sick. You are going to stay home for the day. You get the go-ahead. You get the go-ahead from your parents. You're staying home.
Is this a tease for tonight?
You sit on the couch.
Price is right,
turn
baby.
on the Price is Right.
Yes.
That is absolutely accurate.
Because those models were hot.
You damn straight
they had nothing else to do with the games. You didn't care about the contestants. You just wanted to see.
Do they still have models on there? I haven't seen.
They incorporated some others in there as well. They're not the models that we knew back in the day, but they kind of have a model for everybody, as it were.
I gotcha.
There you
okay.
go.
Yeah, I'd stop caring.
So, in case you didn't know, The Price is Right has been on for a long time. Miles, what show number are we on for our show today? We've been here for 20 years.
4,269.
Over the course of 20 years, well, The Price is Right is about to celebrate their 10,000th episode.
On down
welcome to the 10,000th episode of The Price is Right.
We're giving away a lot of money today. $90,000. Started in 1972. I watched it in college, and Price is Right just stood out because it was people going bananas. It's a really good cross-section of America.
We've had over 75,000 people hauled on down.
We've given away over $300 million in cash and prizes. It's been one of the best experiences of my professional life. No matter how my day is, as soon as I get the Price Right, walk through the door, it all goes away.
Oh, what a show!
Let's just vibe it all day.
On our 10,000th episode of The Price is Right.
The 10,000th episode of The Price is Right aired earlier today at 11 a.m. Eastern on CBS. It will re-air prime time on March the 4th.
I don't think that's a bad idea.
No. So
I mean, prime time, look, game shows
Tuesday.
are awesome, but still, I mean, if you put them on in prime time, there's a reason people still watch Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune. They're game shows.
But somehow they seem like the evening. I can't imagine watching either one of those in the morning, right? But you put them on at 7 o'clock. I'm like, this is the game show, right?
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, whatever. And Drew Carey's done a great job of taking over that franchise and making it still relevant. So,
well, and I loved when they started doing the Celebrity Prices Right and putting that one on in the evening prime time, where it was clear that they were kind of throwing back a few cocktails before they got out there and started playing the game.
It's one of the beauties of Celebrity Anything. They can show up at least half in the bag.
Yes.
And nobody cares because it makes it entertaining.
Well, it's for charity.
You know what? You're right.
They don't need a boat. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, like if you get a cash prize, that's one thing. I want to see some Jamoke win an RV. Yeah. Like that's my world. I want to see the non-millionaire win Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Sure.
Not a celebrity who gives the money to whatever. Not saying you shouldn't donate to your favorite local charities like the Fisher House, but at the same time, like.
But that's why they do it, so
Jeopardy,
that they bring attention to the charity, right? That's their whole thing. Right. Eva Longoria, why are you here? I'm here for the charity for whatever. She ain't going to win. No. But
I'm here,
she gave some national.
I'm here for the Crohn's Association. Why?
Right. You doing okay?
Yeah, no, I know what's going on. It's okay. I'm just making a joke. Everybody has their own thing.
You bet. Everybody has their own thing.
Wait, she's gone. She's not even on the set.
Oh, she stepped away for a second. She'll be right back.
That she does like that charity.
Criminy. Speaking of people that have been around forever, our own Ozzy Osbourne.
Yep.
As you know, he is preparing for his final performance. He's got a lot of health issues to overcome, so of course we should get to see as much of it as possible. Ozzy is doing a documentary for Paramount Plus called No Escape From Now.
No escape from now. You know, it's funny. You brought up The Simpsons earlier, right? Yeah. Controversial at the time, blah, blah, blah. Ozzy Osbourne, to me, is the epitome of controversial. People think he's a Satan worshiper, blah, 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 blah. And now he's like this beloved, absolutely beloved character. It's like, he's just a dude who got into showbiz. He can sing. He did his thing and said, well, satanic. Yeah, he doesn't buy into it. He did it because.
I'd put Snoop Dogg in that same category where he was just like this controversial figure. You know, he's just making all this nasty rap.
T-Mobile, right?
I mean,
I don't know what I think it was Sharon Osbourne last week said that, or maybe it was Ozzy came out and said, hey, one of my biggest regrets, or maybe it was Sharon, was that the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise approached Ozzy Osbourne about being a pirate.
Nice.
Keith Richards took one of
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And it was one of the Orlando Bloom movies. I cannot. Either way, he was supposed to be a pirate on this ship, and for whatever reason, Sharon Osbourne did not think it was a great idea. And the more I see pictures of Ozzy, I'm like, he would have been perfect.
He doesn't need to say a line.
No, he's got the accent. He's got the look.
He would have been so distracting.
He would have been perfect.
Oh, no, you're right. But I think he'd have been so distracting because when Ozzy speaks, you listen because you think it's going to be funny, whether he intends to be funny or not.
Yeah, but they were even like the character. He was supposed to have like one of the octopus faces or whatever the deal was.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't necessarily know.
Okay, all right.
It was
Right,
just
one of the weird fish people.
Right, exactly. He's just playing a character where he's actually doing the lines and acting.
Right.
And I thought, man, that'd have been cool.
So No Escape From Now premieres on Paramount Plus later on this year. Ozzy says, quote, the last 6 years have been full of some of the worst times I've been through. There's been times when I thought my number was up, which honestly is serious. When you
probably
hear about
150 times.
But making music with my 2 albums saved me. I'd gone nuts without music. My fans have supported me for so many years, and I really want to thank them and say a proper goodbye to them.
Dude.
Sharon says the documentary shows, quote, how hard things have been for him and the courage that he has shown while dealing with a number of serious health issues, including Parkinson's.
When the last time he was in there and we got a chance to talk to him, he was talking about the fact that he just got involved in a really horrible ATV accident.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah. And it was probably a couple years back then, but the recovery, and that's way before all this. I mean, there's been a number of times, I mean, in his lifetime where he's gone through some crap. That accident messed him up bad.
Oh, yeah.
You know, whenever you roll a machine that's that heavy and it rolls all over your head and your body.
But that's the first time in any capacity that I'd heard him express any kind of regret about what went down.
Right.
You know, he's done a lot of things. With ATV, I think, like, physically, it messed him up so bad. And not from, like, drug use or something. We go like, no, dude, this is broken bones, and you got to do rehabilitation. That said, knowing Ozzy's kind of on his last leg, man, one of the happiest things about doing this show, we got to talk to this man twice.
Yeah.
Right? There is no other circumstance that would have ever happened. And when dude rolled in, he is and to be fair, you don't necessarily understand every word coming out of his mouth, except the cuss words, because he does not care about the FCC. Mm-hmm. But he's one of the nicest, most genuine human beings I have ever met in my life.
And being on a documentary-style show, from what I've read on that so far, people who are close, I know Duff McKagan was interviewed for that. Who else was interviewed? Zach Wilde.
Oh, yeah.
Who basically was, Sharon kind of escorted him out of the band based on the fact that those two could not hang out together without absolutely
toxic twins,
killing each other, in every way, shape, or form. So there's a lot of different perspectives instead of just you seeing Ozzy and walking around going, oh, I feel terrible. Different people are going to tell their stories about him as well.
Exactly. So look out for No Escape From Now coming out on Paramount Plus. We're going to go from a movie coming out to a movie that has been well established. Of your favorite variety, there's Steve the Thrill Hill Christmas movies, but there is one classic Christmas movie that stands the test of time. It is Christmas Story. Anybody remember the piece of decor that has come from A Christmas Story?
The lamp.
The lamp.
The leg lamp.
The leg lamp. What if I told you guys, I don't know if you knew this.
Wasn't it stolen locally? Someone had a copy of it?
There is a town in Oklahoma that actually has a giant leg lamp from A Christmas Story. And you know who's got a problem with that?
Who?
Warner Brothers.
What?
Yeah.
Is it a money thing?
So Warner Brothers reached out to the city demanding the removal and destruction of the town's leg lamp. They say the entertainment company claims the structure is copyright infringement.
Are they sure? Because I've seen it, replicas of it, obviously, at various stores in Seattle. Right?
Yes.
And I'm sure Warner Brothers does not own that land, but if you bought it for $80, whatever. I have a couple of friends who have it.
There's a Statue of Liberty statue in West Seattle.
Right.
Down by the water. The French aren't coming and suing anybody. They're the French.
Well, it's not copywritten, Miles.
But the other thing, Warner Brothers, I promise you have more money than any small town in Oklahoma. I guarantee.
When it's a piece of art, I think you pass that point. There's a Chris Cornell statue in town. Correct. There's a Jimi Hendrix. I don't think any of the family members are coming around going like, hey.
And it pays homage to your movie.
Right. They're reminding people to check out your movie, dumbasses.
Exactly. Even if it's General Lee. Right. Statue
if you want to bootleg our show and sell it on vinyl, I'm going to tell you right now, I support it. I take the Grateful Dead approach.
I mean, give us a little bit of a kickback.
You don't have to give me anything. If people want to, please do.
Erect a men's room statue that just says KISW 2 to 6 p.m.
We can put that over the urinal.
There you go. Right over the urinal. What are you going to watch tonight? The Masked Singer is at 8 o'clock over on Fox. It's the Rat Pack Tribute Night. The 48th season premiere of Survivor over on CBS. Celebrity Jeopardy quarterfinals over on ABC. And The Floor is over on at Fox. If you haven't seen The Floor, I highly recommend it. That is a fun game show. And then finally, later on tonight, you got, I'm going to recommend Stephen Colbert. He's got Guy Fieri.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it. You're listening to The Men's Room.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. You know what's sneaky? A bunch of big corporations buying up local companies you know and love, gutting them, and keeping the name. But you know who's not a sellout? Pinky's Plumbing. That's right. Pinky's Plumbing's values start with their work ethic, honesty, how they treat their employees, and how they care for their customers. Bigger isn't always better, and that's a fact. You should know you're working with a locally owned company that truly values where they live and work. Pinky's Plumbing. Pinky'sPlumbing.com.
What is Dax, are you?
Tracking all our cars on Carvana Value Tracker on all our devices? Yes, Kristen, yes, I am.
Well, I've been looking for my phone for...
In Dax's domain, we see all. So we always know what our cars are worth.
All of them?
All of them. Value surge, trucks up 3.9%.
That's a great offer.
I know. Sell?
Sell.
Track your car's value with Carvana Value Tracker today.
Plug in a Hyundai EV and the extraordinary happens. From the charge time and range in the Ioniq 5 and 6 to the adventurous spirit of the Kona Electric to the 601 horsepower Ioniq 5N. Hyundai EVs make the extraordinary electrifying. There's joy in every journey.
EPA estimated 303-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 5 SE SEL limited rear-wheel drive and 361-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 6 SE long-range rear-wheel drive with fully charged battery. Actual range may vary. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's my cop.
All right, our top story, we go to Colombia, where drug runners are getting crafty. Local authorities stopped a man going through the airport bound for a flight to Amsterdam. They got the impression that the man had drugs in his system, or rather, on his person. What the hell, Mike? Mainly cocaine, and began the process of searching him to find just where it was. A video was shared with media that shows exactly where they found the drugs, and it wasn't in his bags. It wasn't in the old prison wallet. No, it was under his hat. And the toupee that was under that. The video shows authorities cutting the toupee off the man, revealing several small packages of cocaine. All in all, they seized 220 grams of the drug, and the man was arrested.
It was amazing to see how they did it.
Yeah.
Once you watch the video, you're like, that's pretty ingenious. I can't believe they busted him. I can't believe they caught him.
I do hate that about those drug smuggling things, is as you watch it, like, that's actually a really good idea. That was smart.
But not good enough.
Right. Well, it starts making you wonder, like, where else are we not looking? Because it's still happening. They're still getting through. In other news, we go to China, where a couple's relationship was tested. For some time now, couples have been taking part in a humorous exercise of women hooking their men up to a pelvic stimulation machine that simulates the sensations and experience of giving birth. Several couples do this, one, to see if these manly men can handle it, and two, to give some amount of understanding what their lady is going through should they be blessed to become parents one day. Unfortunately for our man in China, the exercise was taken a little too far, as his fiancée left him hooked up to the machine for 3 hours.
Jesus, dude.
Maybe she just wanted him to experience in great length what she would go through. Regardless, he ended up developing intestinal necrosis and required medical attention.
Doesn't that mean the tissue died?
Pretty much,
wow.
Yeah. He needed to have surgery on his intestines because it just sat there and got zapped the entire time. And I don't know if it was I'm going to be in labor for X amount of time, so experiences for this long.
Sure, but the irony is now I don't want to marry you.
That's exactly what happened. The whole experience put him off of the idea of getting married to the woman and instead filed a lawsuit against her for damages.
Good. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. He called the thing off and sued her. A man near Vancouver, BC, was arrested for his antics following a wedding. Police got the call from guests at a nearby wedding regarding a man that had gotten way too intoxicated. Not only had he imbibed way too much, he concerned guests when he claimed that he was on his way out of the wedding to drive home about 12 miles away, visibly impaired, and that prompted them to take his keys. This, of course, caused frustration that led to the call to police, who took him back home with the stipulation that he could recover his car at a later time when he had sobered up.
That's very Canadian.
Yes, it is. But about 2 hours later, officers were stunned when they saw a car barreling past their station doing 76 and a 30.
Jesus, dude.
Turns out he didn't wait too long before calling an Uber to get himself back to his car and zoomed his way back home. He was arrested and faces some serious charges, and what also is very Canadian is they don't play that.
No, they do not.
When you are caught with DUI charges in Canada, they take it very, very, very seriously.
And anyone from the U.S. with the DUI knows that to be true.
That's fact. Sad scene up in Maine. Emergency crews got several calls about a fire that was blazing on the highway. A few crews arrived on the scene to find a semi-truck that had caught fire and worked together to put it out. After about an hour, the fire was put out and traffic resumed without further incident. And while nobody was hurt, the truck was completely destroyed, as was its cargo. A trailer completely full of frozen curly fries.
No, why couldn't it have been the crinkle cut?
The crinkle cuts are not bad, Steve.
No one would even care if it was crinkle cut.
Grilled fries don't work out for anybody, no matter
Man. No, but curly, come on.
There was a day and age where ribs were not good, Steve, and then somebody made it good. Brisket was not good, and somebody made it good.
Okay, I hear you, and you're not wrong, but I would argue crinkle cut, still not.
But just in case those stars left a bad taste in your mouth,
thankfully, there's good news.
We stay right here locally, as our own Woodland Park Zoo has a new member to celebrate. For the first time since 2022, a pair of sloth bears have given birth to a new baby boy.
How long does it take for a sloth bear to be born?
Oh,
okay. So what
2 week labor.
Okay,
labor.
I saw the picture of this thing, right? It's a sloth bear.
Correct.
Yes. So when I thought sloth, I thought one of those, slow.
Yeah, sloth.
Which are cute. Sloth bear, ugly as hell.
Not so cute.
Ugly as hell. There's no reason you want to go see that.
They've named the sloth bear cub Bowie after the late singer David Bowie, with which our new friend shares a birthday with, and have been keeping a close eye on him to make sure that he's adjusted to life well, and all signs are pointing to yes, according to medical.
Well, then play like Let's
Why
Dance.
do you think they named a sloth bear after David Bowie?
Because it was born on the same day.
Birthday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As was just detailed in the story there.
Yeah, I missed that, man. Sorry.
Men's Room Sports are brought to you by the fine folks at Sports Sports on What, you got college hoops and NHL hockey and NBA basketball all on tonight, as well as Champions Cup soccer featuring your Seattle Sounders. Download the Sports on What app to let you know what time those sports are on and on what channels they're on. As far as your weather, partly cloudy skies with light and variable winds tonight with a low of 42, and that's opening it up to tomorrow, where we've got a mix of sunshine and clouds with a high of 58. That is it for headlines. With that, Mike Hawkins out.
We'll see you next time. The head chef, Cocaine Ted, in with Ted Speed and Potatoes.
Also, the game notice, Big Dummy. Lovely Jolene's up next.
Yes, indeed, it's all true. But in the meantime, well, we be all about this bitch. So until next time, please do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network. Oh, man! A Double Flush production.
Hiring is a lonely business. Posting jobs, sifting through resumes, interviews with unqualified applicants, being ghosted. What if you could link with dozens of qualified candidates who are ready to work right now with just one connection? That's Express Employment Professionals. Find us at expresspros.com. One connection, the workforce you need. Problem solved. Express Employment Professionals. expresspros.com.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
The brand new Grand Casino and Shoreline is now open. Step into the action with Vegas-style table games like Baccarat, Heads Up Hold'em Poker, Pai Gow, Blackjack, and High Card Flush. Feeling hungry? Feast on delicious Chinese, Vietnamese, and continental dishes plus breakfast favorites. Dine in or take out. And don't miss daily happy hours from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. to midnight. Grand Casino and Shoreline off Aurora. Open daily from 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. Visit GrandCasinoGaming.com. Welcome to the Grand Experience.
This podcast is brought to you by Kleenex Lotion Tissues. You can't predict sick days, but with Kleenex Lotion Tissues, you can be better prepared for them while helping keep your skin healthy. Whether it's a surprise sneeze or a stuffy nose, it's always good to have something gentle on hand. Kleenex Lotion Tissues moisturize to help prevent skin irritation while you're battling those unwanted cold and flu symptoms. It's extra care when you need it most. I mean, why not have one less thing to worry about when you're not feeling your best? For whatever happens next, grab Kleenex.
Is your team at work feeling a little disconnected? Maybe the workflow's not flowing? Try Confluence by Atlassian. Confluence is the connected workspace where teams can create, organize, and deliver work like never before. In Confluence, teams can whiteboard their vision for any project, easily create or access the relevant pages and resources they need, and discover important context they might not even know they need. Plus, AI helps teams jumpstart brainstorms, organize information, and connect workflows, so teams can move efficiently and create alignment with ease. In fact, with Confluence, teams can see 5.2% average boost in productivity in 1 year. So if your team lacks confidence, try Confluence, the connected workspace where teams can do it all. Set knowledge free with Confluence. Learn more at Atlassian.com/confluence. That's Atlassian.com/CONFLUENCE.